Chapter 310. Boom! The purple myrtle heavenly disk was not only a heavenly ability, but also a space domain-type supreme secret technique. Now that it was used by Saint Wei, it emitted a vast amount of void energy that filled the entire area. The moment the purple myrtle heavenly disk rotated, Shuiguan disappeared from this area. Saint Wei, the supreme physique's expression, turned ugly. They had spent so much effort, but in the end, Shuiguan escaped. Saint Wei did not attack them, but used the purple myrtle heavenly disk to move the universe and bring Shuiguan away. Suyan's expression was cold. He looked into the distance and saw the ancient war chariot fly out of the star tomb and land in the Savage Mountains. In the Savage Mountains, the experts of the older generation gathered. Especially at the entrance of the Big Dipper, the masters of various races sat cross-legged in the void. They were waiting for the opening of the Big Dipper and wanted to see the progress of the younger generation. The scene now stunned them. They did not expect Saint Wei to have the purple myrtle heavenly disk. Suyan, the ancient war chariot, shook the ground, and Shuiguan walked out. His body emitted a vague light of the great Tao, illuminating the world. This was the power of the Tao. The experts of the older generation were shocked. Just like the legends, Shuiguan had already touched the great Tao and could barely display some of its forms. This was very important and shocking. Shuiguan's eyes emitted a murderous glint. He was like a god standing in the void. His entire body was rippling with divine radiance as he activated the might of the Tao, causing his battle prowess to skyrocket. Boom! Suddenly, a terrifying explosion occurred. The mountains trembled, and a terrifying aura filled the air, tearing apart the sky. It was like a slumbering dragon waking up, shaking the mountains and shaking the world. This kind of aura was accompanied by a penetrating force, causing the crowd to shiver. A great figure is making a move. Does he want to kill Shuiguan? Someone's expression changed. The Chaos War Chariot had just stopped in the Savage Mountains, and there was already a master making a move. That aura was truly terrifying. The entire world was filled with a monstrous aura. At the end of the world, a terrifying palm was approaching. Every single finger was grand like a mountain ridge, and it was coiled with the light of the Grand Tao. It was like the end of the world had stretched over, and it filled the sky. It was terrifying to the extreme. This hand emitted ancient fluctuations, as if it was the palm of a deity. Great stars in the universe floated in the center of the palm, and they were revolving. Boom! Are you targeting Shuiguan here for the inheritance of the Almighty? This scene left everyone shocked. The expert who took action was too decisive. When Su Yin and the Sovereign Physique saw this scene, they were both moved. They widened their eyes and paid close attention. They really wanted to see just what kind of trump cards Shuiguan had. There was no need to mention the strength of the expert who had attacked. It was as if a god or demon had awakened. His aura filled the entire universe, causing the great regions to tremble. His aura was truly astonishing. Boom! The giant hand descended from the sky. The 5 fingers were like 5 mountain ranges. They were exceptionally grand and peerless, covering tens of thousands of miles. Shuiguan's entire body trembled. Even though his magical power was world-shocking, even to the extent of touching the Grand Tao at such a young age, he still felt cold all over when facing the methods of a master of the universe. His entire body was about to explode into pieces under the spreading aura of the palm. No one knew who was targeting Shuiguan. Some people didn't believe that he could produce a second Chaos Law decree. Some suspected that the Big Dipper lineage's master had secretly awakened, and some suspected that the older generation wanted to seize the Pill King. No matter what, the situation was too fierce. But the Chaos War Chariot was powerful enough to make people despair. Shuiguan escaped into the War Chariot, and the ancient War Chariot erupted. Tens of millions of chaotic lights swooped down, enough to annihilate the stars. This hand struck the Chaos War Chariot, causing a huge earthquake. Tens of thousands of miles of mountains and rivers exploded, destroyed in an instant. Smoke and dust filled the sky. A terrifying aura pervaded the world. The chaotic aura exploded, and the war chariot trembled. Stop! An old antique from the Shui family charged out, letting out an angry roar. He took out a Dao weapon and charged over, wanting to protect Shuiguan. But this time, it wasn't just one person who attacked. A terrifying claw attacked, and a huge golden palm followed closely behind. A total of 3 heavenly sages secretly attacked the area where Shuiguan was at. The wild mountains were in chaos. Shuiguan was teleported out and met with a great calamity. After all, the Chaos War Chariot attracted the envy of many. The Almighty's inheritance made even the divine king bow down. Shuiguan was now like a moving treasure trove. Some old antiques wanted to seize the Pill King to extend their limited lifespan. The old antiques from the Shui family were beaten until their flesh was lacerated. In this kind of battle, even the masters of the universe had the possibility of nursing a grievance. The chaotic aura that filled the sky was peeled away. All kinds of killing weapons were taken out to open the Chaos War Chariot and capture Shuiguan from within. But what was unbelievable was that the ancient Chaos War Chariot seemed to have turned into a black abyss. Boom! Millions of black torrents gushed out from the ancient war chariot like a tide that drowned out the heavens. The aura it emitted caused one's soul to tremble. Could it be Shuiguan's Dao protector? The older generation powerhouses had strange expressions. What was this? A powerhouse was hiding in the Chaos War Chariot to protect Shuiguan. Experts also had their dignity. Now, because of the appearance of this mysterious expert, the ancient Chaos War Chariot blazed with a great deal of heat. It was like a giant, vicious beast galloping through the battlefield. The 4 bronze wheels crushed the void, releasing thunderous rumbles. Boom! The chaotic aura that filled the sky was like a killing sword leaving its sheath. The surrounding space collapsed. As the ancient war chariot moved, all kinds of great Dao abilities that attacked it were bombarded into pieces. Shua! A black chain stretched out from the war chariot, strangely locking down a part of the void. No! A terrified voice transmitted through the void. The primordial spirit that drilled out emitted a world-shocking soul aura, twisting space and time, accompanied by the power of the universe's great Tao. This made the spectating cultivators tremble. This was the primordial spirit of a holy sage, and it had evolved into a great Tao. However, the black chain locked down this primordial spirit. When the black chain shone brightly, this primordial spirit began to distort and weaken. It even exploded into ashes. The spectators were agitated. This holy sage must have been severely injured, and his soul aura was greatly damaged. Originally, he wanted to use his primordial spirit to cross over here and wait for an opportunity to capture Shuiguan's primordial spirit. Who knew that Shuiguan had a mysterious Dao protector who sacrificed his primordial spirit? This scene was too fierce. The devastated world gradually calmed down, and all kinds of great Dao aura dispersed like the tide. The world calmed down. The people of the Shui family heaved a sigh of relief. A large group of old powerhouses rushed out to prevent anyone from targeting Shuiguan. What a pity. I didn't expect someone to protect Shuiguan. Who is he? Some people were very regretful. The various holy sages also wanted to know which race's powerhouse was hiding in the ancient war chariot. Scoundrel! Shuiguan shouted angrily. Because his cultivation had touched upon the great Tao, his entire body was filled with the fluctuations of slaughtering all geniuses. His aura surged into the heavens. What a Shuiguan! He's really extraordinary. Someone exclaimed in admiration. I see that Shuiguan's understanding of the great Tao is already very profound. He'll soon reach the quasi-Tao realm and obtain the pass of a powerhouse who has passed through. That's right. These words make sense. Although he was defeated, the Big Dipper Heaven's Chosen and the Sovereign Physique worked together. It's not an unjust defeat. Shuiguan rose from the ground. His eyes emitted a dazzling divine light. His aura was completely different. He was like a great Tao powerhouse, standing in a desolate mountain forest. He was like a young emperor who was inspecting his territory. Soon, he looked down at Su Yin. His eyes were full of blazing, killing intent. He realized that Su Yin might have grasped the legendary Mother Sutra. Su Yin, I'll definitely cut you down, Shuiguan said coldly. The legendary Mother Sutra originated from the Desolate Era. It was rumored that most of the scriptures in the present era were derived from the Mother Sutra. This scripture was extremely important. Don't stand outside and fart. Come in if you have the ability. Su Yin pointed his blood-colored halberd at Shuiguan and shouted coldly. Su Yin, you're audacious to the extreme. You still don't know how to repent. Do you know how much trouble you've caused? The Shui family didn't reply. Han Jin directly stepped out and said with grief and indignation, You even dared to kill Zhu Xing and Lei Yuguan. I'll tell you clearly that there's no way I'll return to the Big Dipper bloodline. Han Jin's face was ice cold. Flames of fury surged within his body. Han Tong had been killed by Su Yin. One could imagine the pain and hatred in his heart. He couldn't bear to see Su Yin rise. What the hell does it have to do with you, whether I return or not? Su Yin cast a sidelong glance at Han Jin and shouted, Didn't you expel me? What's the point of saying this now? If you're not convinced, come in and let's fight for 300 rounds. Bastard. Han Jin's face twisted as he roared. You're a disciple raised by the Big Dipper bloodline. How dare you betray the Big Dipper bloodline? A traitor should be executed on the spot. Only then can we face our ancestors. Enough. Star Element sneered like an old lion. Han Jin, you old bastard. If you're afraid of death, then leave the Big Dipper bloodline. Our Big Dipper bloodline has been established for 1,000,000 years, and we've never feared anyone. Not to mention Su Yin, I'll protect even an ordinary disciple. Star Element's domineering words left the experts of the older generation speechless. After all, Su Yin had caused too much trouble. He had killed Zhu Xing and Lei Yuguang, provoking two peak forces of the universe. Star Element, you're old and muddle-headed. If they come and ask for him, I'll see how you explain yourself. Han Jin was furious. Su Yin was just an ant in front of two peak forces. If they really pursued the matter, it would be a very serious matter. Hee, you're being bullied to the point of being deaf and dumb? Star Element said disdainfully, I think you're really old. We're from the Big Dipper bloodline. What's the big deal about killing 2 extraterrestrial prodigies? That's right. Killing 2 extraterrestrial prodigies is nothing. Han Jin laughed angrily. When the 2 great sects come and ask for him, I'll see how you answer them. You don't have to worry about that. Star Element sneered. He glanced at Shuiguan's Chaos Chariot from time to time. He was also curious about the origin of the awakened expert inside. The Shui family head's face was gloomy. He looked at Su Yin and said gloomily, Su Yin, you're good. You joined forces with the Supreme Physique to go against Shuiguan. What kind of ability is that? If you have the ability, come out and have a fair fight with my son Guanjuan. There's no need for that. Shuiguan sat cross-legged in the void, absorbing the essence of heaven and earth. He said coldly, Give me some time. I'll kill my way in and take their heads. His words caused an uproar. Chapter 311. Su Yin, did you hear that? The Shui family head stood up and laughed. I hope you still have the courage to say those words when the time comes. Brother Su Yin, you don't have to do anything. Let me kill him. The flames of a supreme being were great. Wasn't this just too arrogant? He wanted to challenge the 2 of them. No need. I'll cripple him, and you can kill him. Su Yin snorted. Everyone was speechless at their words. Shuiguan was still very powerful, although he lost this time because the 2 of them worked together. At this time, Wu Hong came with wounds all over his body. His words shocked Su Yin. Saint Ziwei is very scary. She hid her strength very well. Wu Hong said in a low voice, This woman gives me a very dangerous feeling. She's too scheming. Su Yin frowned. He didn't know if it was good or bad that E.C. Yun was in the Ziwei sect. Now that there were rumors that E.C. Yun was going to be the saintess, how could Saint Ziwei give it up so easily? She tried so hard to kill me. Could it be to deal with E.C.? She wants to use Shuiguan to get rid of me? Su Yin frowned and felt uneasy. Let's go. Su Yin and the others didn't stay here for long. Their figures soon disappeared into the outer region. Now, many people were digging in the golden lightning territory to search for lightning liquid. There were also people talking about Su Yin. His rise was too sudden. In one day, he killed 2 geniuses from the outer regions. He even fought with Shueguan and comprehended the Big Dipper Fist. I wonder how powerful Su Yan's Big Dipper Fist is. Did he find the Big Dipper Palace? Everyone was concerned about this. For the geniuses from the outer regions, their goal was the Big Dipper Fist. Now, the Big Dipper Palace hadn't appeared yet, and the Big Dipper Fist had already been taken by Su Yin. Shueguan, Su Yin, Sovereign Physique. The 3 of them are fighting for supremacy. Who is the true Big Dipper Sovereign? Only by conferring the title of Northern Dipper Sovereign would he have the qualifications to contend for hegemony in the outer realms and compete with the various geniuses of the universe. Shueguan definitely has a higher chance of winning. He has already begun to comprehend the Tao. There were many discussions in Big Dipper City. Everyone was extremely shocked by the changes in the Lightning Dominion. Su Yin had already risen, and no one doubted this. Ordinary people were simply not his opponent. Some people had a hunch that the Big Dipper was about to be unsealed. Now, in the core region of the Big Dipper, battles were going on all day long. Various secret realms were being opened up. Some people felt that Su Yan's rise had something to do with a lightning pool. For a time, some of the dangerous arcane realms on the Big Dipper attracted a lot of attention. Large groups of cultivators rushed in, hoping to get some good fortune. I wonder how Xing Jingfu and the others are doing. He should be in Big Dipper City. Su Yan's face was a little pale. The continuous battles had exhausted him greatly. He also had some internal injuries and needed to recuperate. Wu Heng and the Sovereign had left. Su Yin and Bao Kai crossed to Big Dipper City and found the official residence where Xing Jingfu and the others were. Senior brother Su Yin. Just as he stepped into the official residence, a fragrant wind blew over. A beautiful woman in a silver robe came from afar. Moonlight flowed on her snow-white skin, making her look bright and beautiful. Hearing this, Su Yin was slightly startled. He looked at the woman whose aura was a little weak. She was beautiful and had a surprised smile on her face. She said happily, "Senior brother Su Yin, you haven't seen me before, right? My name is Feng Xiaomu, a disciple of the Big Dipper lineage." "So it's Junior sister." Su Yin smiled and walked up to ask, "How are your injuries? Are Xiao Wen and the others here too?" "Thank you for your concern, senior brother. It's just a small injury. This is the gathering point of our Big Dipper lineage. They are all here." Feng Xiaomu smiled. Her eyes were shining as she looked at Su Yin. Her temperament was very gentle and quiet. "I say, Feng Xiaomu, you're really not shy with strangers. You just met, and you're already calling him senior brother. Outsiders would think that you two are very close." A teasing voice sounded. The official residence became lively as a large group of young men and women arrived. They were all injured to varying degrees. Su Yin looked over and saw that they were in high spirits. Su Yin couldn't help but nod. They all had the demeanor of a great sex disciple. At the same time, many disciples were sizing up Su Yin. To them, Su Yin was very mysterious. He appeared out of thin air and set off one storm after another. This expedition made them feel a sense of respect in their hearts. Feng Xiaomu's charming face was slightly red. She glared at a woman in a red dress and said angrily, "It's none of your business. Go away." "Haha, Feng Xiaomu wants to drive us away. Does she want to be alone with senior brother Su Yin?" Xiao Wen's words caused laughter. It was very lively. "What nonsense are you talking about?" Feng Xiaomu glared at Xiao Wen and said angrily, "Is it wrong to call him senior brother? Is there a problem with that?" Xiao Wen laughed. He didn't dare to provoke this great beauty of the Big Dipper lineage. On the other hand, Xing Jingfu walked up and looked at Su Yin curiously. "I say, are you martial uncle or senior brother? How old does martial uncle look?" Feng Xiaomu muttered. Her eyes wandered as she looked at Su Yin. She recalled the battle in the Thunder Domain. It was truly shocking. She still couldn't forget it. Some scenes were still vivid in her mind. Those were high and mighty Outer Realm geniuses. However, Two of them were killed by Su Yan. Guan, who was at the peak of his power, was also defeated and forced to flee. Up to you. Su Yan shrugged and smiled at them. Let's talk about our own matters. I really want to thank all of you for your help. Senior brother, why do you say that? Xing Jingfu's figure was petite. She wore a long black dress and walked up. She looked very elegant. She smiled and said, "We're all disciples of the same sect. We should help each other. Senior brother is in trouble. How can we just stand by and watch?" "Yes, senior brother. It's a pity that we couldn't defend ourselves. Fortunately, you intervened at the critical moment and turned the tide." Feng Xiaomu said gently. "Senior brother, how are your injuries?" "I'm fine. You don't need to worry about me. We'll face difficulties together. We've gained a lot this time. Senior brothers and sisters, please don't stand on ceremony. Come and pick some treasures as a greeting gift." Su Yan greeted them warmly. He took out many healing treasures and a batch of divine weapons. Su Yan's gains were plentiful. The luminous lightning universe and Zhu Xing's storage space were like two treasure vaults. Now, Su Yan felt that he was a local tycoon. He had gained more than 8,000 jin of heavenly essence stones. Moreover, Su Yan also took out a portion of a lightning liquid. This item was extremely precious and was a holy item for healing injuries. So many treasures. Ha ha ha. Senior brother is too generous. We won't stand on ceremony then. The aura of treasures soared into the sky. Su Yan took out all kinds of treasures and presented them to them. Xiao Wen and the others were pleasantly surprised. Many of the treasures were rare and could be used by them. Some disciples sighed and couldn't help but think of Han Tong. Xiao Wen and the others didn't particularly approve of his status as the eldest senior brother. But this time on the Big Dipper star, Guan and the Shui family had joined forces to target Su Yan. This had completely infuriated them. However, Han Tong had already fallen. They didn't want to say anything more. Xing Jingfu looked at Su Yan and recalled the past since the opening of the Big Dipper. Her eyes were filled with anticipation. She was thinking that if Su Yan was the big brother of the Big Dipper lineage, what kind of grand occasion would it be to welcome the enemies from outside the domain with a peerless attitude? The universe was vast, and the star fields weren't harmonious. Expeditions were common. It was only a matter of time before they were bullied by the smaller powers. In this battle, the Big Dipper star lineage had slaughtered their way to fame. No power in the Big Dipper star field would dare to underestimate them. It was already nighttime. The hall of the official residence was brightly lit. They drank and chatted merrily, enjoying delicious food and talking about interesting things. "Little guy, you eat bamboo too?" Tai Baokai stared at the starry moon beast. This starry moon beast shook its head and was very cute. It had been raised by Bamboo Moon since it was young. When it saw Tai Baokai gnawing on a piece of rare bamboo, it clamored to eat it too. Stingy, the starry moon beast whined. Its whole body was covered with silver fur. It was dazzling, and its big bright eyes were shining with moonlight. Tai Baokai passed the half-eaten piece of bamboo to the starry moon beast. She was delighted and took a bite. Her face changed instantly. She crouched down and transformed into a pure and beautiful little girl with silver hair. She stuck out her pink tongue and said, "You can eat something so disgusting." "What do you know?" Tai Baokai rolled her eyes and lit up a smoke panda cigarette. Tai Baokai puffed out a cloud of smoke and enjoyed it. A silver-haired little girl ran over in a lively and adorable manner. She looked at the treasure curiously and asked for it in embarrassment. She also wanted to take a bite. "Here you go. This is a magical elixir. Take a deep breath and spit it out. I guarantee that you will live to 10,000 years old." Tai Baokai was very generous and passed a cigarette to the starry moon beast. Su Yan's face darkened at this scene. He wanted to beat Tai Baokai up. Cough, cough. The starry moon beast followed Tai Baocai's method. Its small body stiffened and it coughed violently. Green smoke came out of its mouth and its face turned red. All the disciples laughed. Some male disciples also said that they wanted to give it a try. The starry moon beast was scared and stayed away from Tai Baokai with a bitter face. "Senior brother Su Yan, I still don't know where your hometown is." A disciple who looked very strong asked curiously, "Whose disciple are you?" Do you belong to a patriarch? If it's not convenient for you to tell me, just pretend that I didn't ask. A disciple called Zuyang reeked of alcohol. He said drunkenly, I come from small planet. If it weren't for the Star Master, I wouldn't have come into contact with a world of cultivation. The universe was vast, and there were as many ancient planets with life as there were stars. It was too difficult to stand out in the universe and spread his name across the vast starry sky. Hearing this, Su Yin went silent and drank a big bowl of wine. Are you guys okay? Su Yin looked at the bright moon outside the window and murmured in his heart, how can I go back? Can I only go home when I reach the universe master level? Thinking back to the ups and downs during this period, Su Yin felt like he was dreaming. Ever since he had arrived on planet Alcade, he had not had a peaceful life. Yi Yuan's whereabouts were unknown, and Yi Si Yun was in Crepe Myrtle. He did not know if she was in danger. He turned around and looked at Xing Jingfu and the others, who were chatting in full swing. Su Yin felt a kind of warmth and a sense of belonging to Big Dipper. He could not help but sigh in his heart. Work hard, Su Yin. There's still a long way to go. One day, you'll definitely be able to go back to your hometown. He clenched his fists, thinking that he should look for Celestial Mountain next. Just as he was thinking, Feng Xiaomu came over quietly. Her cheeks were red, and her eyes were blurred. She looked a little charming. She gathered her courage and asked, Senior Brother Su Yin, are you the future Big Dipper Supreme? The palace went silent. Su Yin scratched his head and looked at Feng Xiaomu, Xiao Wan, and the others. He saw the anticipation, desire, and fighting spirit in their eyes. Su Yin understood. They were all the rising stars of Big Dipper, and they hoped that Big Dipper would rise. Big Dipper had been established for 1,000,000 years. They used to be the Overlord, but now they continued to decline. Many years had passed, and each generation was worse than the last. There were rumors everywhere, saying that it was time for Big Dipper to give up its position as the Overlord, and that it might be Shueguan's world in the future. In the dozens of nearby star regions, people only knew about Shueguan. As for Kaiyang Juzi and the others, they had not reached the stage where their names were spread far and wide. They hoped that Big Dipper could shine with glory, regroup, and rush to the top. I think it's good to be immortal. Zuyang smiled honestly. The elders said that the path to becoming a supreme is to step on the bones of the enemy, standing on a mountain of corpses and sea of blood, fighting for the stars. This is a path of no return. On the path of becoming a supreme, there were very few who could really look down on the world. Su Yin did not know how to answer. He left Earth and came to Alcade City to save Yi Si Yun. There was some confusion in Su Yan's eyes. Then he clenched his fists. He was thinking about how to answer if Bamboo Moon asked him. Either stand aloof from worldly affairs, or make the whole world his enemy. Why do we have to become a supreme? Su Yin asked curiously. Can't one become a powerhouse if they are not a supreme? The group of youths was stumped by this question. Xing Jingfu suddenly said, Master said that only by growing along with the Star Region's great Tao can one be qualified to become a powerhouse. I don't know the reason behind this, but perhaps we will only understand if we are strong enough. I know of a legend. One star field after another, star field will produce star field after star field. They will gather somewhere in the universe and engage in a terrifying struggle for supremacy. It is said that as long as one can kill their way out, they will obtain a heaven-defying fortune. Su Yin was shaken. The universe was already grand enough, but countless star realm supremes had been selected to collide somewhere in the universe and launch a punitive expedition among the young overlords. What kind of grand occasion would this be? I know that too. It's said that the lowest qualification is to become a star region supreme. This is too far away for us. Xing Jingfu found it hard to imagine what kind of fierce struggle this would be. After all, every star region supreme was recognized by the star region's great Tao and was the strongest of the younger generation. Such a struggle for supremacy could be called the most terrifying torrent in the universe. How strong is Earth's Tao fruit? Su Yin scratched his head and muttered in his heart. Chapter 312. There seemed to be a black mountain floating within the crystal pendant. It appeared sinister and gave Su Yin an ominous feeling. He was shocked that the crystal pendant had changed again. What kind of treasure was it? His expression was uncertain. Could the water spirit pendant's change be related to Mount Everest? But he felt that it was impossible. This place was too far away from Earth. Even he did not know how to return. The crystal pendant could not have sensed its change. Who am I? Su Yin smiled bitterly in his heart. He still did not know where he came from. He could not help but mumble in his heart. Did I jump out from a stone? He put away the crystal pendant and thought for a while. He whispered in his heart, when the snow mountain changed, so did the crystal pendant. Could it have sensed the change of the celestial mountain? This was a shocking guess. Su Yin felt that the snow mountain on Earth was very likely one of the 9 celestial mountains. Then, the Big Dipper also had a celestial mountain. Maybe there really is a celestial mountain. Su Yin put the pendant into his spatial treasure and started to drink with them with a heavy heart. Tonight, they were all drunk. Su Yin found a place to rest and recover. Since he entered the Transcendence realm, he had been fighting continuously and was exhausted. Especially when he fought with Shuiguan, he also suffered internal injuries. I need to cultivate in seclusion for a while. There are still big battles waiting for me. Su Yin took a deep breath and cleared his mind. He also closed his eyes slowly. Su Yin's internal injuries were quite bad. His internal organs were rupturing. Fortunately, his body was strong enough to suppress it until now. First, he took out a batch of Heaven's Essence stones and absorbed the Heaven's Essence Qi to nourish his injured body. Time flew. One day and one night passed. Su Yan's Qi and blood were gradually filled and vigorous to the point of being terrifying. Sparkling and translucent thunder liquid flowed out of his limbs and bones. This kind of treasure liquid was too mysterious. It flowed in Su Yan's body and contained a secret force. It drilled into his treasure body and washed it over and over again. Su Yan's body glowed as his blood essence gushed out in all directions. After another half a day, it refined the lightning liquid hidden in its body. Its entire aura shook violently, and a terrifying air current suddenly whistled out. Boom! The entire stone hall almost exploded. His aura was too shocking. He even realized that after refining the remnants of the thunder liquid, his cultivation had reached the 3rd heaven of the Transcendence realm. Su Yin did not come out of seclusion. He sat cross-legged in the stone hall and continued his seclusion. The sound of chanting scriptures rang out from his body, containing the profound meaning of the rules. The laws of the world were evolving. The Inception Sutra circulated on its own, causing every part of Su Yan's body to glow. The power of Dharma power was thus released. Every level of Dharma power contained a shocking amount of divine power. It even contained a type of absolute rule. As Su Yin studied the aspect chapter of the Initiation Sutra, a Tao pearl appeared in his mind. The great Tao pearl blossomed with auspicious light and sprinkled down a rain of Tao light, making Su Yin look like a banished immortal. Lawful embodiment of heaven and earth, ever-changing. Lawful embodiment of heaven and earth can evolve everything. Only when it is extremely close to the profound meaning can it touch the great Tao. Su Yin whispered in his heart. This realm had a lot of implications. If he could not cultivate it to perfection, it would be as difficult as ascending to heaven to touch the great Tao in the future. He took out the things he had obtained and found some Tao books. Su Yin frowned. These Tao books were broad and profound, but they did not have the answers he wanted. Su Yin obtained the meaning of the Transcendence realm from the scriptures. However, he did not have any strong cultivators to guide him, so Su Yin did not know much about this realm. Could it be that all Dharma powers are gigantic? Su Yin released his aura, and a layer of light rose behind him. It was very grand and was about to burst the entire ancient hall. A dragon drilled out. Its entire body was golden and dazzling. It was filled with the aura of a Dharma power that pierced through the sky. It was because of the power of Dharma power that Su Yan's Dharma power was infinitely large. Su Yan's foundation was shocking. Now, his Dharma power was strong enough. However, The Transcendence Realm was related to the great Tao of the future. Su Yin had to cultivate carefully to prevent his foundation from being damaged if he improved too much. Su Yan's eyes suddenly opened. A secret door was opened in the stone hall, and a bag was thrown in. Su Yan walked over and opened the bag. He saw some ancient scriptures that had existed for a long time. Brother Su Yin, Elder Star Element asked me to give this to you. He said it was some scriptures that might be useful to you. Feng Xiaomu left a message. After reading the paper, Su Yin could not help but feel happy. He really got what he wanted. He did not expect Star Element to send him a batch of scriptures. He opened the scriptures and read them. The content recorded in the scriptures was related to the Transcendence Realm. Thank you, Grand Elder. Su Yin thanked him in his heart and seriously flipped open the scripture to study. First of all, these scriptures were definitely expensive. Only a few people in the Big Dipper clan could read them. They were the core inheritance of the Big Dipper clan. The Big Dipper clan had accumulated millions of years of foundation. It was too easy for them to take out a portion of the Dharma scriptures. Moreover, these were all trump cards. Only those in the Transcendence Realm with a strong foundation were qualified to read them. The more Su Yin read, the more surprised he became. Some of the arcane arts recorded in the scriptures were very useful for cultivating Dharma power. This arcane realm did not only require one to cultivate their natal Dharma power, one also needed to understand the Dharma rules. Only after cultivating to the peak could one touch the great Tao. Half a month passed in the blink of an eye. Su Yin did not leave his room. The more he read, the more proficient he became in the cultivation of this realm. Buzz! On this day, layers of golden light rose behind Su Yin. It was like flowing golden light, bright and dazzling. When the power of the Dharma power was activated, it combined together and transformed into a golden cauldron. It sat in the void and rapidly enlarged, spreading a thick aura. Su Yin evolved the power of the Dharma power. His entire body was surging with the light of rules. Sometimes, it combined into one and transformed into a killing sword. It made a sonorous sound, as if it was a real killing sword filled with a metallic luster. Sometimes, it would activate an ancient bell. It would rumble, and sound waves would roll. It was really like a golden bell. Not only that, but a giant panda would rise behind Su Yin. Its entire body was golden and dazzling. It could also transform into a golden winged roc and spread its wings to fly. In short, the Dharma arcane realm could have many changes, enough to be ever-changing. This required the construction of the Dharma power. This was only Su Yan's preliminary experiment. He had comprehended to a critical point. His entire body was emitting a shocking aura. This was his spiritual will. Su Yan's primordial spirit sat cross-legged in his forehead bone. It was surrounded by a kind of charm and soul spirit. Boom! As if a huge earthquake had occurred, a huge bind rose behind him. It was very large and hazy with a monstrous, murderous aura. This was a spiritual pressure that originated from Su Yan's spiritual will. I didn't expect the Dharma arcane realm to involve the primordial spirit. My primordial spirit has to be cultivated to the void return realm. Thinking of this, Su Yin smiled bitterly. He only had the opening chapter of the Sutra of the Future. This was a secret of Buddhism. Do I have to change the heavenly art of the primordial spirit chapter? Su Yin muttered in his heart. The primordial spirit was independent and belonged to one's spiritual will. However, this was also a domain. If he didn't cultivate it well, he would definitely suffer in the future. He used the power of the Dharma power to evolve all kinds of materials, artifacts, and beasts. The more he evolved, the more Su Yin felt the importance of the primordial spirit. It was related to one's spiritual will. He couldn't help but say, essence, chi, and spirit are very important. It is only when one is endowed with spiritual chi that it is considered a great magical power. Su Yin fell silent again. He studied his own physical body. The next step of his cultivation was naturally to prepare to cultivate the Great Path Heavenly Furnace. This was the core secret technique of the initial sutra. Once he cultivated the Great Path Heavenly Furnace, he would be able to cultivate a shocking combat body, There's no hurry. I need to find the chi of the great path first. With my current physical body, even if I get it, can I withstand the baptism of the chi of the great path? Suyin thought to himself. He was immersed in the evolution of his physical body. With the profound meaning of the Dharma power, he began to evolve his physical body. The changes were astonishing. First of all, exuberant primordial power spilled out from Su Yan's treasure body. It ran through his entire physical body and restored his constitution to the extreme. He was filled with the fluctuations of a divine being. Boom! Like a sudden clap of thunder, a blurry light rose from his body. This was the rule of the power domain. Now this rule was magnified, blazing, and terrifying. Buzz! Su Yan's eyes opened wide. It was as if he had turned into a primordial true dragon. As he moved, the blood essence in Su Yan's body rumbled like the roaring of the sea. Secret technique of the true dragon. Su Yan's aura suddenly changed greatly. It was as if he had turned into a ferocious dragon, full of terrifying power. This was because of the evolution of the rule of force, transforming into the power of the Dharma power. Roar! A terrifying light rose from behind him. A true dragon drilled out. It was as thick as a mountain and could easily sweep through the world. Compared to half a month ago, Su Yan's secret technique evolved was much more powerful. This was the uniqueness of the Dharma plane. The magical powers that erupted were also stronger. Su Yan was cultivating in seclusion to adapt to the Dharma plane. With the help of the sutra, he advanced by leaps and bounds in this realm. His combat strength also climbed. The initial sutra was activated. Su Yan's aura soared. His entire body was filled with powerful might. He was like a demon that could easily burn mountains and boil seas. He could pierce through the sky. Soon, his aura was restrained, and he looked like an ordinary person. He realized that after these days of cultivation, his power had become more condensed. However, once it was unleashed, it would definitely cause the mountains to collapse and the seas to split. Su Yan was full of smiles. These days, his efforts were not wasted. He had stabilized his Dharma plane. I wonder if there are any rewards for challenging the Big Dipper Tower's magical power realm. Su Yan thought of the Big Dipper Tower. He had obtained a pool of galaxy elixir in the past. Su Yan pushed open the door and walked out. He saw Feng Xiaomu standing in the courtyard. Her snow-white skin was flowing with moonlight. She was beautiful and had the demeanor of a lady from a noble family. Senior brother, there will definitely be rewards for disciples who cultivate our sect's heaven art, Zuyang said mysteriously. Outsiders? It's hard to get valuable things. Only our own people can obtain the best resources. At this point, Feng Xiaomu's eyes lit up. She said with anticipation, Senior brother, are you going to challenge the Big Dipper Tower? Can you break Shuiguan's record? Su Yan did have such a plan. However, Feng Xiaomu's words surprised him. He did not cultivate the Sex Sutra. How did he obtain such an extremely valuable resource like the Galaxy Elixir? Boom! Suddenly, a terrifying explosion resounded throughout the entire Big Dipper. Su Yan was shocked. He soared into the sky and opened his heaven's eye to inspect his destination. The lightning domain exploded. It was as if a vast ocean had shattered. The resulting energy wave blasted the crowd in all directions and sent them flying. The fluctuations released by the Golden Thunder Dominion swept out for 10,000 miles. Over 100 great mountains collapsed, and countless ancient trees were turned to ash and smoke. Chapter 3:13. The Thunder Dominion exploded. Someone shouted out loud, his voice echoing throughout the entire Big Dipper city. The shocked crowd was left dumbstruck. They couldn't believe it. The Thunder Dominion exploded? Their first thought was, how is this possible? No matter how one looked at it, the entire Thunder Dominion was a danger zone. Even if there wasn't much lightning left, how could such a large Thunder Dominion explode just like that? News of this spread out, stirring up a terrifying storm. Because far too many people had died, many cultivators began to investigate the Thunder Dominion. They searched for treasures and tried to find Thunder Liquid. But these people had all died tragically in the Thunder Dominion. As for why, it was still unclear. 10,000 miles outside the Thunder Dominion, all the cultivators were sent flying away. For a time, the Thunder Dominion exploded, leaving not a single living creature behind. How is this possible? Su Yan's breathing was heavy. He looked at the Thunder Dominion with disbelief in his eyes. There was even a trace of panic in his heart. If he was still in the Thunder Dominion, then he would have been buried with it. Who did this? First of all, the scene in the Thunder Dominion was familiar to Su Yan. As he recalled the changes in the reincarnation pool, Su Yan's heartbeat quickened. This aura was similar to the reincarnation pool. At that time, he realized that perhaps what he experienced belonged to another space-time. Could it be that another space-time had disintegrated and then a great collapse occurred, causing tens of thousands of lives to be buried with it? Let's go and take a look. This is a major event. Within Big Dipper City, a large number of cultivators rushed towards the Thunder Dominion. They wanted to know the truth. Many geniuses from outside the Thunder Dominion were interested. There were even some people who boldly speculated that the sudden explosion of the Thunder Dominion had something to do with the sinking of the Big Dipper. Some people didn't believe this. The Big Dipper had sunk for hundreds of thousands of years. Even if it encountered some sort of ominous change, why would it only appear now? The Thunder Dominion really exploded. Who was so ruthless? The number of people that died is definitely more than 10,000. This is a bloody case. Many people felt a chill run down their spines, and their hearts trembled. They paled as they looked at the Thunder Dominion that was riddled with holes. If it happened a bit earlier, then wouldn't Shui Guan and the others be buried with it? Yeah, this is too scary. I heard that the number of dead cultivators is probably over 10,000. I'm afraid they don't even know how they died. There were cultivators near the Thunder Dominion that rushed towards the Thunder Dominion. At the same time, they were talking to each other, their voices filled with fear and alarm as they said, "I just passed by here and looked into the distance. I saw the Thunder Dominion being submerged in black fog and then exploding, completely destroyed." Su Yan was nearing his destination. As he looked at the Thunder Dominion, it was as if he was looking at a broken furnace that was spewing out black smoke. It was like a demonic creature, filled with a gloomy, terrifying, and malevolent aura of purgatory. What a terrifying aura. It's like a power that doesn't exist in this world, able to kill all life forms. Su Yan shuddered. How could something like this happen? Senior brother, I have to go back and report this to the Grand Elder as soon as possible. Feng Xiaomu's tone was solemn. This was the Big Dipper. Such a tragic incident was of great importance. There's no rush. Su Yan pondered for a moment and said in a low voice, "Let's go and take a look first. The Grand Elder and the others can see the changes in the Thunder Dominion through secret treasures. Let's find out what caused the explosion first." "Okay, I'll listen to Senior Brother." Feng Xiaomu nodded. They followed the Big Dipper City crowd and rushed towards the Thunder Dominion. As they neared their destination, those who had rushed over to watch were all terrified from the bottom of their hearts. The area within 10,000 miles was riddled with holes. It was like a great rift valley that could shatter at any moment. There were too many large cracks, one after another. This place had already been razed to the ground. The energy ripples from the Golden Thunder Dominion swept through 10,000 miles of rivers and mountains. All of the mountains and ancient trees were pulverized. "Oh my God, how could it be so miserable?" Someone said with a pale face. "This is a destructive power that only a universe master can erupt with. It's definitely not man-made. Could it be that something is hidden within the Thunder Dominion?" These words attracted the approval of the surrounding people. This was very likely. Su Yan's complexion was gloomy and uncertain. The Golden Thunder Dominion was broken, like a broken volcano spewing out billowing black smoke. It was like a purgatory had been opened, filled with a thick aura of death. Feng Xiaomu wanted to investigate the Thunder Dominion, but she was stopped by Su Yan. "Let's go and take a look." Some people couldn't wait any longer. They were thinking that perhaps some treasure had been unearthed. Just as someone took the lead and rushed over, it immediately attracted the attention of some people. Senior apprentice brother Su Yan, could a treasure have been born? Feng Xiaomu looked around. She had the countenance of a flower and the face of the moon. She wore a long white dress as she muttered to herself. It doesn't seem like it. Suyin shook his head and said, let's wait and see. I think some demonic event has occurred in the Thunder Dominion. If we go in now, it might not be a good thing. A group of people rushed over. They were all very courageous. They all wanted to see if there were any treasures within the Golden Thunder Dominion. Suyin stared at them. When these people approached the Golden Thunder Dominion, they didn't feel any danger. It was just that the shattered Thunder Dominion was covered in thick black smoke, making it impossible to see what was inside. Let's go. As they rushed in, their figures were shrouded in fog. Suyin opened his eyes with all his might, but he still found it difficult to see through the fog. He frowned. Was there really no danger? Just as everyone was waiting anxiously, a mournful voice rang out. It was like the wailing of a malicious spirit. Everyone felt their hair stand on end. This voice contained fear and despair, as if they were being dragged into purgatory. Suyin's heart turned cold. Mournful voices rang out one after another. They're all dead. Someone counted. There were a total of 13 voices. His forehead was covered in cold sweat. Was this a demonic land? It could even devour people. An ominous aura spread out. For a time, no one dared to rush in. There were also geniuses from outside the Thunder Dominion that rushed over. When they saw the Thunder Dominion that was riddled with holes and gushing out fog, their faces paled. How could such a demonic event occur? News of this matter spread out in a grandiose manner. The Big Dipper was filled with panic. Some people were worried that similar situations would occur in other places. Suyin had always been near the Thunder Dominion and hadn't left. More and more people rushed over. They all wanted to know the answer. Is that an immortal? Someone's heart trembled. These words alarmed the surrounding cultivators. They raised their heads and saw auspicious multicolored light descend from the sky. A holy aura was hazy. That was a picturesque woman. Her clothes fluttered in the wind. She was holy like an immortal. Her arrival made the world lose its luster. Even the bright moon became dim. She floated over. Her beautiful hair was jet black, and her skin was like ice and jade. This woman's temperament was too extraordinary. Whether it was her appearance or temperament, she was even more outstanding than Saint Wei. She was like a fairy that fell into the mortal world. She stood in the void like an immortal. The surrounding spectators were all shocked. This woman was an outstanding beauty. Her appearance was perfect, making many women feel ashamed of their inferiority. So beautiful. Feng Xiaomu couldn't help but take a few more glances. Even the maid beside her was a beauty. Her skin was fair and beautiful. Young miss, this is? The maid beside her frowned. Her voice was soft as she said, it seems to be the legendary demonic mist. When these words were spoken, the surrounding people were shocked. They had been stunned for so long, but still couldn't see it. However, the maid beside this fairy actually saw through it. Demonic mist. Someone exclaimed, why would this thing appear on the Big Dipper? Rumor has it that the demonic mist only appears in the Chaos Ruins. It is said that once the demonic mist appears, it represents a place of great danger. Those who trespass will die. Many people didn't know about the demonic mist. Even if they did, they knew very little about it. It should be the demonic mist. The woman with perfect features nodded slightly. Her eyes were focused on the broken lightning field. It wasn't a good thing for this thing to appear on the Big Dipper. It is said that Fairy Ling Yun has a bodhisattva's heart. Did you purify the demonic mist? Let me see Fairy Ling Yun's methods. In the distance, purple chi came from the east. A graceful woman appeared. She was wearing a purple dress. Her features were beautiful, and there was a smile on her face. 2 small dimples appeared on her cheeks. Suyin was surprised. He looked at Fairy Zixia. She was naturally beautiful as well. The 2 proud women faced each other from afar. Fairy Ling Yun's temperament was like a fairy's, and her appearance was perfect. Fairy Zixia's appearance didn't pale in comparison. However, she always had a smile on her face, like a little fairy. She gave people a feeling of friendliness. Everyone here feasted their eyes. Some felt that the name Fairy Ling Yun sounded familiar. I was wondering why it sounded familiar. So she is the Dan region's Fairy Ling Yun. Someone was shocked. Rumor has it that Fairy Ling Yun is a grandmaster in the alchemy world. She was born with outstanding beauty, and her name shook the universe. I didn't expect her to appear on the Big Dipper. She was very famous and could be called a top figure in the alchemy world. It was said that she was the #1 person in the younger generation of the Dan region. The people here were in an uproar. They didn't expect such a famous proud woman to come. Even Shui Guan wasn't that famous in the universe. However, Fairy Ling Yun was already the top beauty in the universe. You're here too. Fairy Ling Yun floated like a fairy. She looked at Fairy Zixia and said softly, I don't have the ability to purify this demonic mist. Once the younger generation comes in contact with it, no one can survive. Mississippi, the maid beside Fairy Ling Yun, couldn't help but say, back then, Emperor Nin encountered the demonic mist in the Chaos Ruins. However, he survived. What? Emperor Nan. The onlookers turned pale. Even an extraterrestrial sky pride felt his hair stand on end. Could this woman be related to Emperor Nan? Who is Emperor Nan? Su Yin was stunned. He realized that the people around him were shocked speechless. Senior brother Su Yin, don't you know Emperor Nan? Feng Xiaomu was also shocked. She said, Emperor Nin is known as the supreme of all heavens. The number of people in the younger generation who can stand up to him can be counted on one hand. Su Yin was shocked. How powerful was this prestige? How could it be counted on one hand? The supreme of all heavens was a title. Only the supreme of the star region, who could suppress the strongest ancient star with life, was qualified to be called the supreme of all heavens. In the vast universe, this was the most shocking title for the younger generation. Eastern Demon, Emperor Nan, Northern Demon, and Western Buddha. Someone sighed. The 4 strongest of the younger generation. Who can compete with them? The surroundings quieted down. Some people looked up at the sky and sighed. These 4 were recognized as the 4 strongest in the universe. The distance between them and such outstanding talents was like a sea of stars in the universe. They couldn't touch them and could only look up to them. Who is the central theurgy? Su Yin couldn't help but mutter. Su Yin, you little thief. Fairy Zixia saw Su Yin and walked over angrily, glaring at him. Chapter 314. He's Su Yin. The crowd gathered here swept their gazes over. Su Yan's name had shaken the entire Big Dipper. They all recalled the battle in the Lightning region, where he killed 2 geniuses from other regions. That incident had caused a huge commotion, and they were still talking about it. I say, little Fairy Zixia, why are you so fierce when we just met? Su Yin was speechless. What did that rooster run off to? Fairy Zixia looked at Su Yin and asked in an unfriendly tone. She was still brooding over the fact that Su Yin had cheated her. She also wanted to know what Su Yin had obtained in the Land of Fortune. I roasted it and ate it. Su Yan's response made Zixia Fairy's face full of disbelief. She was graceful, beautiful, and generous. She snorted, I don't believe it. So this fellow Taoist is Su Yin. I've heard a lot about you. Fairy Ling Yun's footsteps were light as she floated over. Her gaze landed on Su Yin. Her maidservant was curious as well. After all, Su Yin had mastered the Big Dipper Fist, a secret technique that had been lost for an epoch. Fairy Zixia, you flatter me. How famous can I be? Compared to your fame, I'm not worth mentioning. Su Yin smiled. That's right. How famous can he be? Fairy Zixia rolled her eyes in annoyance. Su Yin smiled bitterly. To be able to master a myriad heaven's mystique, even one that had been lost for an epoch, that's not a small achievement. Fairy Ling Yun's black hair fell like a waterfall. She smiled faintly and said, who knows, I might be able to see you on the path to becoming a paragon in the future. Fairy Zixia, don't praise me too much. Su Yin replied. I can't even protect myself. Besides, you should keep an eye on the Lightning region. If the calamity really comes early, I won't be standing here talking to you. Fairy, what is this devil mist? Feng Xiaomu couldn't help but ask. Upon hearing this, Fairy Ling Yun pondered for a moment and said, I can't say for sure, nor can I confirm that it's the demonic mist. This thing is very evil and generally speaking, it would only appear in the Chaos Ruins. Legend has it that one would die upon contact. This thing is not to be trifled with. What are the Chaos Ruins? Su Yin asked. I heard from some experts that it's at the edge of the universe. Fairy Ling Yun replied. But the Chaos Ruins are very dangerous. I've never been there before, so I don't know much about it. I heard that fellow Taoist, Su Yin, is a cultivator of the occult sect. It seems like your relationship with the Northern Dipper Fairy is extraordinary. She actually taught you the secret arts of the occult sect. Su Yin muttered in his heart. Bamboo Moon had never taught him the secret techniques of the strange gates. What are you talking about? Su Yin frowned and said, Junior Marshall's sister, does the Star Lord know the secret techniques of the Qi Men? How come I don't know that she has such a secret technique? Feng Xiaomu was also a little confused. He didn't know much about it. Hey, no matter what, Su Yin is still my underling. Fairy Zixia stretched out her white hand and patted Su Yan's shoulder, saying, Fairy Ling Yun, why are you testing him? It's said that Emperor Nin also wanted to take away the inheritance, but in the end, it was taken away by the Northern Dipper Fairy. Besides, why are you so sure that the inheritance Fairy Dipper obtained is the secret techniques of the occult sect? Su Yin was shocked. This woman was testing him just now. Su Yin suddenly recalled. He only had half of the black ore in his possession, and the other half was given to him by Bamboo Moon. The origin of this thing might really be a little scary. What are you talking about? Su Yin pretended that he didn't know anything and said, I say, fairies, you two are high and mighty, while I'm just a nobody who doesn't know anything. Can you be more precise? Let me answer for you. The maid next to Fairy Ling Yun said. It said that a broken universe appeared in the Chaos Ruins, and there were many sacred herbs and even divine herbs in it. What did you say? Su Yin was shocked. Feng Xiaomu also covered her red lips with her hand, not knowing what to say. This is not rare. The maid explained, there are great opportunities in the Chaos Ruins, and a harvest of sacred herbs is not a big news. There are even divine herbs in there. Su Yin was speechless. It was said that the appearance of divine herbs would cause the gods to fight to the death. Those were the gods, the giants who looked down on the stars, and they would fight to the death for the divine herbs. Of course, you might not understand if I tell you this now. The Chaos Ruins are too difficult to explore. Only an invincible hero like Emperor Nen is qualified to take risks in the Chaos Ruins. The maid chuckled and said, some people also call the Chaos Ruins the burial region, because some people have excavated some broken universes in the Chaos Ruins, but it's too difficult to find them. Back then, a broken universe appeared in the Chaos Ruins, and it caused a terrible war. Some people speculated that there was the orthodoxy of the strange gate in this broken universe, and Fairy Beidou happened to go there. Then, there was a rumor that Fairy Beidou took away the inheritance. Su Yin clenched his fists. Bamboo Moon was seriously injured back then, and she came to Earth after struggling for her life. Could it be that Bamboo Moon was injured because of the inheritance of the strange gate? He felt that it was very possible. This showed that the inheritance he received was extraordinary. Rumor has it that in the desolate era, when the strange gate was at its peak, they could exert unimaginable power. Unfortunately, with the passage of time, this lineage gradually weakened, mainly because the inheritance was incomplete. Fairy Ling Yun's clothes fluttered in the wind like a fairy in the clouds. Taoist Su Yin, your future achievements will definitely be extraordinary given that you've obtained the inheritance of the Mystic Gate. What do you think of the era of rising heroes and rising young overlords in the universe, fellow Taoist? Hearing this, Su Yin was speechless. He said, Fairy Ling Yun, you're asking a beggar if the palace is beautiful. Puffed. Fairy Zixia laughed so hard that she rocked back and forth. My little brother has never seen the world. Everyone, please don't make fun of him. It seems that you haven't been cultivating for long. Fairy Ling Yun also laughed. But you've touched the cultivation method of the fist of the Big Dipper. You might be the Big Dipper Supreme in the future. Don't tell me that I'm not qualified to cultivate the Tao if I'm not a Star Domain Supreme. Su Yin asked. That's not the case. Fairy Ling Yun shook her head slightly and said, The celestial domain supremes are bestowed with Tao fruits to help them grow. Naturally, others can also comprehend the Tao. However, compared to the Supreme's rate of improvement and future potential, they're still lacking. Therefore, their achievements are limited. Su Yin seemed to understand. After all, he hadn't reached the peak of the Transcendence realm and didn't know anything about the Tao. Boom! A series of loud sounds came from afar. Ferocious air currents rolled over, bringing with them a wisp of ominous aura that made the cultivators present shudder. A strange beast with a body as large as a mountain was moving towards this place. Its entire body radiated divine light, and its forelegs were thick like ancient trees. They were strong and powerful. Every time it landed on the ground, it would trample the ground and cause cracks to appear. Dragon-horned elephant. Someone's face turned pale. This was a rare, strange beast. Its body was as huge as a mountain, and there was a horn on its forehead. It looked like a true dragon standing upright, surrounded by an ominous aura. The aura of this dragon-horned elephant was extremely shocking. It was definitely a creature at the peak of the Transcendence realm. Fairy Lingyun. When the dragon-horned elephant arrived and noticed Fairy Lingyun, it was shocked and quickly ran over to greet her. I didn't expect to meet you here. I'm really lucky. You are? Fairy Lingyun was a little surprised. She didn't know this dragon-horned elephant. Fairy Zixia took the opportunity to interrogate Su Yin. What did he find in the stone temple? I just found some strange things, Su Yin transmitted. It's not as valuable as you think. There's nothing good inside. Fairy Zixia's face was full of disbelief. Where did that rooster go? Tell me honestly, there's something wrong with it. Hearing this, Su Yin was shocked. What's the problem? It didn't leave the lightning region. It's probably dead. Fairy Zixia's forehead was full of black lines. She didn't quite believe Su Yan's words. She waved her fist at Su Yan. I'll find a chance to teach you a lesson. Haha, you don't know me, but you definitely know my master. The dragon-horned elephant's deep voice rang out, shaking the blood in some people's bodies. Some people turned pale. Its master? This dragon-horned elephant was a creature at the peak of the Transcendence realm. How terrifying was its master? My master is the star region supremacy of the Tianxian star region. The dragon-horned elephant looked proud, as if it was saying something extraordinary. I'm the Mount of Supremacy Kong Yuan. What? He's Kong Yuan's mount. The place was in an uproar. Feng Xiaomu was shocked and transmitted. Senior brother, the Tianxian star region is a star region near our Big Dipper star region. Kong Yuan and Shui Guan have a good relationship. Moreover, the Tianxian star region and our Big Dipper star region often have conflicts. Su Yan nodded slightly. He was also curious. How strong was a star region's supremacy? I remember now. Fairy Lingyun nodded slightly. This scene made the dragon-horned elephant laugh. I heard that Fairy Lingyun was here in the Big Dipper city, so I came here to greet you. All right, my master is here too. He's in the Big Dipper city. Because he's studying a secret technique, he'll only come out in a few days. Kong Yuan actually came to the Big Dipper. Someone said in shock. How did he get in? The Big Dipper suppresses battle power. Those whose cultivation is above the Transcendence realm will definitely be suppressed. Someone explained. He probably used a secret treasure to conceal his aura and suppress his strength to the peak of the Transcendence realm. I didn't expect a star region supremacy to come. Although the Tianxian star region wasn't a peak star region in the universe, it was still very powerful. It was one of the top second-tier forces in the universe. The star region supremacy of the Tianxian star region was naturally powerful. All right, who's Su Yan? The dragon-horned elephant's aura suddenly turned cold. It swung its trunk and spat out rolling sound waves. In front of everyone, it scolded, he's got guts. I heard that he teamed up with the Supremacy Physique to go against Supremacy Shuiguan. Is Su Yan here? Let me see if he has 3 heads and 6 arms. Some people's faces changed. Su Yan was the Peking Jia of the Big Dipper star region. How dare Kong Yuan's mount stand here and scold him? You're too presumptuous. Feng Xiaomu's eyes widened in anger. Moonlight flowed on her snow-white skin. She pointed at the dragon-horned elephant and scolded. You're just a mount. How dare you insult the pride of the Big Dipper bloodline? Before Feng Xiaomu could finish her words, the dragon-horned elephant's aura suddenly became ferocious. It was like a terrifying giant beast was awakening. Its cold eyes stared at Feng Xiaomu. It sneered and said, "So it's a female disciple of the Big Dipper bloodline. My master still needs a maid. I think you're just right." You. Feng Xiaomu was furious. Her face quickly turned red. "If you perform well, you might even be favored by my master." Chapter 315. This dragon-horned elephant was the size of a mountain, and a fierce light shone from its body. Its trunk was like a divine whip that could smash a mountain. It contained a tyrannical, destructive power. "Haha, little beauty, surrender. Otherwise, you will suffer." The dragon-horned elephant laughed. Its aura was quite oppressive, and its posture was naturally very high. Although it was only a mount, it was a symbol of status that the dragon-horned elephant was proud of. This female disciple is in trouble. This dragon-horned elephant is a rare beast. Its combat power is needless to say, and it is even at the peak of the Transcendence realm. Capturing a female disciple of the Big Dipper lineage is not a problem at all. Some people were discussing, and the atmosphere was a little oppressive. What was surprising was that since Kang Yuan was here, Shuiguan now had a capable helper. If the two of them joined forces, would the Zhizun body and Su Yan be able to stop them? Feng Xiaomu's beautiful eyes were spitting fire. This dragon-horned elephant was too arrogant. It wanted to suppress her immediately. However, its trunk was really powerful. It smashed over like a divine weapon, and the aura it emitted was like a mountain pressing down. Just as Feng Xiaomu's pleading gaze landed on Su Yan, she realized that he had disappeared. Boom! A palm suddenly reached out from the void and grabbed the elephant's trunk. Who is attacking? Come out! The dragon-horned elephant's face turned cold. Its trunk shone brightly like a divine whip. However, no matter how strong its power was, it could not break free from the palm that grabbed its trunk. How dare you? The dragon-horned elephant was not afraid. It shouted angrily, "I am Kang Yuan's mount. Come out if you know what's good for you. Otherwise, you will be in trouble. You're just a mount. Why are you so arrogant?" A cold voice sounded. Someone saw a shadow appear in the void. It was Su Yan. The surrounding people's expressions were a little interesting. Su Yan was a genius of the Big Dipper lineage. "Who are you?" The dragon-horned elephant glared and shouted coldly, "I am warning you. I am Kang." Before it could finish its words, the space around it suddenly fluctuated and rumbled. The nearby cultivators were aghast, because when Su Yan grabbed the elephant trunk and swung his arm, the power released was unbearable for them. Boundless strength. Su Yan is enough to uproot an archaic mountain. Someone cried out in alarm. This was a terrifying eruption of power that shook the heavens. Rip! It was a bloody scene. This giant elephant trunk was forcibly removed by Su Yan. Blood splattered all over the earth, dyeing the territory red. The surrounding people were stupefied because everything happened too quickly. From a moment Su Yan made his move until now, the dragon-horned elephant's trunk had been removed. The dragon-horned elephant let out a painful cry. Its entire face was a bloody mess, and its trunk had been torn off. "Who are you?" The dragon-horned elephant was so angry that its entire body was trembling. Its mournful eyes stared at Su Yan as it roared, "I am Kang Yuan's mount. How dare you treat me like this? Aren't you afraid of dying without a burial ground?" Boom! A loud sound exploded between heaven and earth. Many people saw a golden wave that seemed to be born in the void. It pressed down from the sky and pressed down on the dragon-horned elephant's head. Su Yan stood on top of the wave and looked at the dragon-horned elephant. He said coldly, "Aren't you looking for me? Why, now that I'm out, you don't recognize me?" "You!" The dragon-horned elephant let out a furious voice. "You are Su Yan. How dare you treat me like this? My master will definitely not forgive you." Bang! Su Yan's feet stomped on the ground. Heaven and earth roared and divine radiance rushed into the heavens. This stomp of his was as if he was going to stomp on a mountain range. "Quickly stop." The dragon-horned elephant was terrified and trembled with fear. Was Su Yan Not afraid of Kong Yuan? If this stomp really landed, I wouldn't be able to survive. It would explode into a bloody mist. Chirp, chirp. Suddenly, a rock's cry resounded between heaven and earth. Golden light scattered the clouds in the distance. Just as the rock's cry was heard, a golden heavenly rock had already swooped down. The moment its huge golden wings opened and closed, it was like a golden sword embryo. Crack! The void was cut open. The golden wings cut open the power of Su Yan's stomp. The demon regent's prodigy is here. The onlookers were energized. Su Yan had even killed Zhu Xing. This heavenly rock was probably not enough to deal with him. Brother, thank you for your help. The dragon horn elephant looked as if it had been reborn. Instead, its attitude became even worse. It glared at Su Yan and said, Su Yan, just you wait. When my master comes, I will return it to you tenfold. Boom! Su Yan's expression was normal. He lifted his foot again and stomped down fiercely. Su Yan, where it's possible to let people off, one should spare them. You're a dignified Big Dipper prodigy. What kind of ability is this to deal with Kong Yuan's mount? The rock race's prodigy coldly spoke. His golden pupils were like knives, sharp and terrifying. You little chick. Su Yan pointed at him and coldly said, I haven't come to settle the score with you after the battle of the Golden Thunder Dominion. Now you dare to provoke me? Everyone was speechless. Little chick, this was the rock race's outstanding Ingjia. Although the bloodline in his body couldn't be considered perfect, the precious blood of a divine beast still flowed in his body. His future potential was limitless. Su Yan, hand over your life. This heavenly rock was furious. Divine light shot into the heavens. It instantly swooped down and once again extended its golden wings, wildly chopping towards Su Yan. If you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Su Yan's eyes flashed with a trace of coldness. He stood on top of the dragon-horned elephant. His long black hair draped over his shoulders. He was no longer calm. It was as if a demon god had awakened. His entire body flowed with a terrifying aura that overflowed the heavens. The dragon-horned beast let out a terrified cry. It was frightened. How could this Su Yan be so strong? It was the closest to Su Yan. The moment Su Yan's body was unsealed, it was as if a demonic mountain had awakened, causing the blood and qi in its body to dry up. The entire world was trembling. Everyone present was overwhelmed with shock. It was as if they saw a giant, vicious beast rising from the ground and piercing through the heavens. Its power was shocking. A claw stretched out, surrounded by the might of an ancient dragon. The claw was huge, as if it could split open the heavens. It descended from the sky, filled with the power to split the heavens, grabbing towards the golden-winged rock. At the same time, his foot stomped down. No, the dragon-horned beast was terrified and angry. Su Yan actually dared to kill it. Was he not afraid of Kong Yuan coming to settle the score with him? Roar! The golden-winged rock let out a long roar. He unleashed his strongest power and activated the rock race's ultimate technique. The whole world was filled with golden splendor and blazing flames. Its huge wings spurted out millions of golden killing swords, slashing towards the dragon claw that was pressing down. At the same time, its golden claw struck out, wanting to stop Su Yan. But the moment it made its move, it regretted it. The dragon claw that descended from the sky was incomparably huge, holding up the heavens, splitting the seas, and shattering the void. Every inch of the void was shattering. Su Yan's cultivation during this period of time was not in vain. His mastery of divine powers had reached a new level. The dragon claw filled the entire sky, like the claw of an ancient dragon. It was about to crush the stars in the outer realms. The dragon-horned beast had already exploded, and its blood filled the sky. Su Yan killed Kong Yuan's mount. The spectators felt a chill from head to toe. Someone said in a trembling voice, "This lunatic, doesn't he know who Kong Yuan is? He should have avoided him for the time being. But now, Kong Yuan definitely won't spare Su Yan. He will definitely target him. How terrifying. I feel that Su Yin is even stronger than before. Even this heavenly rock was almost suppressed. Su Yin only used a single hand. It's clear how strong he is now. I feel that he is even stronger than when he was in the Thunder Dominion. On another battlefield, the golden-winged rock used all of its strength to break free from the dragon claw. It let out a furious roar and soared into the sky, wanting to leave this place. Since you've come, don't leave. Come down. Su Yin coldly snorted. He stood tall in the void, his head of hair dancing in the wind. His entire body surged with wave after wave of golden blood energy that filled the world. Dong! He brandished his fist. It was like the sound of a thunder drum, causing the world to resonate. What a guy! Su Yin has comprehended the aspect domain to such a level. The older generation cultivators were moved. This was something that could only be done by someone who had a deep understanding of the aspect domain. As Su Yin recovered, it was as if he had stirred up the power of heaven and earth. His aura soared, boundless and shocking. A true dragon drilled out from his fist. It pierced through the sky and shook the mountains and rivers. Bastard! The rock race's heaven's pride was furious. All of the feathers on its body stood erect. It was like a killing sword clanging. Thousands of sword rays rushed out from its body and slashed towards the true dragon. A great battle erupted just like that. They thought that it would last for a while. But who would have thought that Su Yin would be so powerful and domineering? Fist after fist, the world rumbled and the sun and moon lost their light. The 9 true dragons soared into the sky and killed the rock race's pride. Damn it! The rock race's pride's body trembled. In a frenzy, it took out a murderous weapon and slashed towards the 9 true dragons. Rip! Su Yin took out the blood-colored halberd and slashed across the sky. A tragic aura shook the heavens. It was as if a huge canyon had appeared between heaven and earth and swallowed the rock race's pride. The moment the 2 murderous weapons collided, the 9 true dragons pounced forward, causing the rock race's pride to scream miserably. Its feathers fell off, and its flesh was badly mangled. It was about to be torn apart. Su Yin waved his dragon claw and captured the rock race's pride. The surrounding people were petrified because it was too fast. The dragon claw captured the huge, heavenly rock as if it was catching a little chick. During this process, the dragon claw emitted a terrifying flame. The heavenly rock's body was about to collapse. Su Yin, let me go. The rock race's pride let out a terrified cry. All of this made him feel humiliated and furious. There was even a trace of fear in his heart. How could he be so strong now? Fairy Xia snorted. She felt that Su Yin must have obtained great fortune in the Yin-Yang River and accumulated an unimaginable foundation in the transcendent realm. Otherwise, how could he have such powerful battle prowess? Give me a reason. Su Yin looked down at it and said coldly. Its eyes were full of humiliation. It also roared. My rock race has a peerless genius who follows the North Demon. He is a peerless general under the North Demon, his right-hand man. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone was in an uproar. East Demon, South Emperor, North Demon, and West Buddha. The 4 peak experts of the younger generation were so powerful that it was suffocating. The peerless generals under them should all be supreme beings of the star domain. They had the strongest battle prowess of their generation. Why don't you bring out your ancestors? Chapter 3:16. The world was completely silent. The surrounding people all stared at Su Yin with terrified gazes. There was a kind of fear in their hearts. The rock race's prodigy had even called out the North Demon, but Su Yin still dared to kill it? Some of them were drenched in cold sweat. This person was too cruel. He even dared to kill a living being related to the North Demon. However, some of them shook their heads when they thought of Zhu Xing. How could you kill it? Wouldn't it be fine if you just taught a lesson? The maid beside Fairy Ling Yun transmitted her voice. It's not lying. The North Demon has a peerless general under his command. He's a peerless prodigy of the rock race. Now that you've killed it, this matter will be difficult to resolve in the future. Upon hearing this, Su Yin transmitted his voice. I have no enmity with this creature, but it tried to stop me and almost killed my fellow disciples. It deserved to be killed. Suyan's response left her at a loss for words. Fairy Lingyun was a little surprised as well. It had been a long time since she had met someone who was so decisive in killing. Let's go. Suyan waved his hand, and Feng Xiaomu flew over. Even Xiao Wan and the others rushed over and left with Suyan. Miss, is Suyan unqualified? Upon hearing the maid's question, Fairy Lingyun transmitted her voice. He's indeed strong. His rise has just begun, and he'll have great achievements in the future. However, Shuiguan is not to be underestimated. The inheritance he received should not be simple. The beautiful maid thought for a while and nodded. I don't know how strong the supreme physique is, but I feel that Su Yin will definitely be a killing sword under the North Demon King in the future. He might even become the North Demon King's right-hand man. Upon hearing this, Fairy Lingyun didn't say anything. Becoming the right-hand man under the Supremes? That wasn't something that could be achieved by killing a few prodigies. Without a peerless prodigy of the younger generation, the Supremes wouldn't rashly accept a general. This Fairy Lingyun came all the way to the Big Dipper Starfield to select a general for the North Demon King. Fairy Zixia muttered in her heart. Could it be that the struggle for supremacy has already begun? The 4 heavenly Supremes had begun to nurture their wings? I guess so. That day is coming soon. I wonder how exciting it will be when the time comes. After Fairy Lingyun and the others left, the number of onlookers in the Golden Lightning domain decreased by more than half. Suyan did not travel far. He stopped nearby to see if Kong Yuan would appear. Suyan, did you kill Kong Yuan? Xiaowen said with a solemn expression. After all, he has obtained the recognition of the great Tao of the profound Sky Star region. He is definitely not an ordinary person. Once you encounter him, it will be very dangerous. Senior brother, you must not be careless. That's right, senior brother. After all, Kong Yuan isn't an ordinary person. Although he has suppressed his battle prowess, he still possesses peak battle prowess among the younger generation. Seeing their concerned looks, Su Yin smiled and said, I also want to see how strong a Star Domain Supreme is. Since this Kong Yuan can be conferred the title of Star Domain Supreme, he must have some outstanding aspects. I feel that if Senior Apprentice Brother wants to fight with Kong Yuan, now is the right time. Zuyang hesitated for a moment and said, now Shui Guan is cultivating outside. If they join forces, Senior Apprentice Brother will definitely be at a disadvantage. On a short mountain, they were discussing. At this moment, Tai Baokai ran overexcitedly and threw the plucked and cleaned heavenly pung into a cauldron. This scene stunned Xing Jingfu and the others. What was Tai Baokai doing? Haha, pung meat. I can finally taste it. I wonder how delicious this divine meat is. Tai Baocai's saliva flowed out. He opened his mouth and spat out fire. He was ready to cook a pot of heavenly pung soup. Eat heavenly pung meat? Zuyang staggered and fell to the ground. He was dumbfounded. The group of disciples was shocked. Although this heavenly pung had the bloodline of a divine beast, it was definitely not a pure one. Otherwise, to kill a pure-blooded divine beast, it was too difficult. But even if it was an ordinary heavenly pung, it was still a divine beast. Tai Baokai wanted to cook a pot of heavenly pung soup? It'll be a waste if you don't eat it. Try it. Su Yin smiled. He didn't think it was a big deal. He hadn't tasted a divine beast before. The fire had been lit, and the spirit spring in the cauldron was boiling. Tai Baokai was drooling. He took out one precious herb after another and threw it into the cauldron. I have a white jade cabbage here. Xiaowen said, I think we should take out some precious herbs and stew it with the heavenly pung meat. I have a golden radish. Feng Xiaomu's face was red. He took out a golden radish and threw it into the cauldron. They took out all kinds of strange precious herbs. There were at least a dozen of them, and threw them into the boiling cauldron. Xing Jingfu took out some array discs and placed them around. She was really worried that this matter would be leaked. After all, if this matter spread, how could the Peng clan let it go? The Peng clan's bloodline was being roasted and eaten. Not many people had the guts to do so. At night, this area was surging with spiritual essence like a rolling sea of clouds. Even the inside of the cauldron was curled up with auspicious clouds as the divine aura spread out. This was a rare delicacy. How many people had eaten such a thing before? Even if they killed it, they probably wouldn't dare eat it. Tai Baokai poked his head out and looked inside. This pot of soup was extraordinary. It contained exuberant life essence and was a great tonic. Just a sip can prolong one's life. Tai Baokai secretly drank a few mouthfuls. He realized that it wasn't time yet and continued to wait. The group of disciples stared blankly as they waited for the pung meat to come out. This wait lasted for an entire night. The fragrance in the cauldron filled the air and divine light shot out in all directions. The pung meat was finally cooked. The meat was golden and fragrant. Suyin took a bite and his tongue almost melted. He felt as if a clear stream was flowing through his body. Damn it, don't fight over it. The place was immediately in chaos. They had never eaten such a delicacy. They were all fighting over it and swallowing it in large pieces. I can't take it anymore. A young disciple who wasn't even 20 years old shouted. His entire body was red like a cooked lobster. Because the medicinal energy was too vigorous, his entire body was emitting flames. Don't eat too much or it'll backfire. Suyin helped him refine the surging essence blood in his body. Suyin had eaten quite a bit of this thing and only felt that his body was overflowing with fire energy. This thing was a great tonic. There were even more than 10 precious medicines that were boiled together. Just the soup alone was a rare tonic. I'll leave some for my master to taste. Zuyang laughed foolishly and took out a jade bowl to seal a part of it. Come, let's drink. Shaowen took out the fine wine he had collected for many years and gulped it down. Truly delightful. Haha, delightful. They ate the entire pot of pung meat until there was nothing left. Apart from Su Yin, the others were all in seclusion. They were cultivating and refining the great tonic medicinal energy to strengthen their bodies and nourish their organs. Su Yin sat there cross-legged and cultivated, absorbing the essence of heaven and earth. He wasn't in a hurry to break through. He had been stabilizing his realm and perfecting what he had learned. He even exchanged experiences with Xing Jingfu and the others. I came from an unorthodox background, so I have to learn more. Su Yin calmed down and cultivated. The outside world was already in an uproar. The Peng race's genius had been killed, and the dragon-horned elephant had been trampled to death by Su Yin. All the cultivators who heard of this sucked in a breath of cold air. What a madman. Kong Yuan is in seclusion in Big Dipper City right now. Su Yin actually killed his mount. How audacious. Big Dipper was in an uproar everywhere. The commotion caused by this matter was not small, but some cultivators from the Big Dipper lineage felt that this was normal. An Outer Realm genius had come to cause trouble, so why couldn't he kill him? I feel that Su Yin is getting stronger and stronger. I wonder how powerful his domain is. I really hope that Su Yin can suppress Kong Yuan. Is that possible? Kong Yuan is a supreme being of the star domain. There is a lot of discussion in Big Dipper City. They were very curious about this person who had risen out of thin air. They wanted to know whose disciple he was and where his hometown was. Time passed day after day. Su Yin had gained a lot, and his realm had been stabilized once again. During this period of time, Su Yin hadn't been idle. He had been trying to search for traces of the Big Dipper, but the Big Dipper fist reaction was very vague. He couldn't find any specific traces. Could it be that it's not time for the Big Dipper Palace to appear yet? Su Yin frowned. Although he had touched the cultivation door of the Big Dipper fist, Su Yin felt that something was missing. He wanted to go to the Big Dipper Palace to take a look. Perhaps he could find the answer. Tai Baokai led people to search for traces of the Immortal Mountain, but the Big Dipper was too vast. It was very difficult to find the Immortal Mountain. Senior brother, I can't do what you did. On the short mountain, Su Yin taught them the cultivation method of the Big Dipper fist. These disciples shook their heads. It was very difficult to grasp. Only Xing Jingfu had some hope, but she felt that her body was a little weak. It was difficult to use it. I want to go into seclusion. Xing Jingfu made a decision. I've already obtained the complete version of the Big Dipper scripture. There's a way to temper the body. I think only an extremely powerful ancient heavenly technique can support the Big Dipper fist. Go. Suyin couldn't help but nod. The secret techniques of the heavens were too powerful. The foundation needed was naturally shocking. I'm leaving. Suyan's eyes suddenly opened. I'm not waiting. I'm going to the Big Dipper Tower to see if there are any opportunities inside. Suyin rushed to the Big Dipper Tower. He felt a sense of urgency, as if something big was about to happen. However, not long after Suyin left, in the Big Dipper city, thousands of rays of divine light suddenly appeared. They surged and surged, causing the sky to shake violently. Even the clouds in the sky exploded. Like the birth of a demon, a young man with long red hair flew into the sky. He let out an angry roar that shook the sky. Kong Yuan has come out of seclusion. In the Big Dipper city, all the cultivators held their breaths. This was undoubtedly Kong Yuan. It was obvious that he had just cultivated a secret technique. His body still had the remnants of a terrifying magical power. His entire body was like a big red star. Boom! Especially behind him, it was like a condensed star field. It was blurry and terrifying. Thousands of rays of red light were released, releasing wisps of supreme power. How terrifying! Everyone was trembling. This was the great Tao imprint of the Tianxian star field. Although the Big Dipper star suppressed the great Tao, there were still some projections that had the power to suppress thousands of geniuses. Kong Yuan was in a good mood. However, when he heard that his mount had been trampled to death, he was in a terrible mood. Suyin, how dare you kill my mount? Chapter 317. Big Dipper City was filled with undercurrents. Kong Yuan was powerful enough, and he was also a true star domain supreme. He was the invincible Ingjia in the Tianxian starfield. His fame had spread far and wide, shaking the surrounding starfields. Even the Big Dipper, Kong Yuan was very famous. Boom! The sky was filled with crimson clouds that split the sky like lightning. As Kong Yuan woke up, his whole body was like a burning red star, and the flames were terrifying. Moreover, a majestic starfield imprint rose behind him, containing an incomparably domineering aura and a trace of supreme prestige. So terrifying, that's the imprint Kong Yuan obtained. The Tianxian starfield is not weak. It could be considered a second-tier power below the most powerful ancient stars. In a vast universe, it is equivalent to the top 500 starfields. The extraterrestrial geniuses were envious. Of course, they couldn't compare to the top 10 most powerful ancient planets. Even if they were ranked in the top 100 planets, the paragons of these planets were terrifying. In a vast universe, they were considered peerless geniuses. There were billions of geniuses in the universe, and it was difficult to count how many starfields there were. There were also big and small starfields. Under normal circumstances, every starfield had an extremely powerful ancient star that gave birth to a shocking Tao fruit and could be conferred the title of Star Domain Supreme. The Star Domain Supreme of every starfield. They were the strongest of the younger generation, selected from millions of geniuses. A starfield ranked in the top 500 was already very impressive. The Star Domain Supreme of a starfield was a top figure in the vast universe. This Kong Yuan was naturally extraordinary. I wonder who will obtain the Big Dipper's Tao fruit. Some people sighed. After all, the Big Dipper had been one of the 10 most powerful starfields. Although the Big Dipper had continued to decline and had fallen out of the top 100, its Tao fruit was still terrifying. If one could obtain it, they would receive unimaginable opportunities in the future. For example, behind Kong Yuan was a vague but majestic illusory image. It was like a projection of the Tianxian starfield, blazing and terrifying. It hovered there, and the aura it emitted contained the heavenly might of a supreme of the same generation. So terrifying. That's the Star Domain imprint. If it wasn't suppressed, Kong Yuan's Star Domain imprint would be even more terrifying. Some people were left speechless. They finally understood why a Star Domain would select a Star Domain Supreme Being, causing the other proud sons of heaven to pale in comparison. This was because the young, proud sons of heaven that were recognized by a star domain's great Tao were far too tyrannical, possessing a peerless background. If Kong Yuan stood in the Tianqian starfield, he would be even more powerful. The Tianqian starfield and the Big Dipper have always been at odds. Kong Yuan humiliated the Big Dipper, isn't afraid of provoking public anger. Some people frowned, dissatisfied with Kong Yuan's words. Kong Yuan's tone is arrogant, but he has the qualifications to be arrogant. After all, he's a starfield sovereign. He has the pinnacle battle strength of his generation. Do you think that Su Yin can defeat Kong Yuan? Someone shook his head with, haha, let's see how Su Yin will die this time. Even Kong Yuan is here. The Big Dipper was in an uproar. Han Jin, who was watching through the corner of space, sneered in his heart. A star domain supreme with great fortune. Even the invincible Ing Jie has made his move. Even if Su Yin and the supreme body work together, can't they stop Shui Guan and Kong Yuan? Some people looked at Shui Guan. He was still in seclusion. What shocked the older generation experts was that Shui Guan's strength in the transcendence realm seemed to have increased again. However, he had secret treasures protecting him, so it was hard to see how strong Shui Guan was. I can faintly feel the aura of a great Tao. A universe master narrowed his eyes and said, the great Tao is converging towards him. Could it be that Shui Guan is comprehending the Tao? The Golden Dragon King and the others' faces darkened. If Shui Guan really succeeded in comprehending the Tao and received the recognition of the Big Dipper star domain's Tao fruit, no one would be able to suppress them in the future. Even if Su Yin and the others were heaven-defying, they would still be forced to leave their homeland. However, which star domain would allow an outsider to receive the recognition of the star domain's Tao fruit? Under normal circumstances, local cultivators had a higher chance of success. Although there were also outstanding prodigies from peak powers, it was very difficult to receive the recognition of a star domain that was ranked at the top. If they received the brand of star domain that was ranked at the bottom, it wouldn't be of much help. Now, there were very few cultivators who wanted to enter the Big Dipper Tower. The main reason was that the rewards in the Big Dipper Tower were too few. After all, the Big Dipper Tower was a treasure that belonged to the Big Dipper lineage. It was used to test the cultivators of the clan. Cultivators from other clans could enter the tower, but the resources they received were limited. Precious resources couldn't be given to them as rewards. Quick, look, it's Su Yin. There were many cultivators at the back door of the Big Dipper Tower. When a figure emerged from the void and rushed towards the Big Dipper Tower, everyone was dumbfounded. Su Yin was going to enter the Big Dipper Tower. This is big news. Spread the news immediately. Su Yin is going to enter the Big Dipper Tower. After all, Su Yin was ranked first in the Dao Sect realm. No one had been able to shake this ranking to this day. Now that he was going to enter the Big Dipper Tower again, it was very eye-catching. He's going to enter the Big Dipper Tower? When the Shui family received the news, they immediately laughed. Su Yin didn't get any ranking in the Divine Power Mystic Realm. Is he dreaming of getting a ranking in the Dharma Characteristic Mystic Realm? If the cultivation domain of the Divine Power Mystic Realm can't keep up, it will be very difficult for him to achieve much in the Dharma Characteristic Mystic Realm. The reason why Su Yin is so strong is related to his physical body. So what if he specialized in one domain? Shui Guan is ranked first in the Primordial Realm and Dharma Characteristic Realm. No one can shake him. The Big Dipper Tower was in an uproar. This matter attracted many people to come and watch. They wanted to know if there would be any changes in the rankings of the Dharma Characteristic Realm. I really hope that senior brother Su Yin can take down Shui Guan. Xiao Wen and the others also came. They were looking forward to it because they knew that Su Yin had broken through to the Dharma Characteristic Mystic Realm in the Lightning Pool. Before that, Su Yin had yet to enter the Divine Power Mystic Realm. Hearing the people around talking about Su Yin entering the Dharma Characteristic Mystic Realm, Zuyang laughed. Zuyang chuckled. He felt that with Su Yan's accumulation in the Divine Ability Secret Territory, the ending might cause a terrifying shock. Su Yin rushed all the way and stepped into the door of the Divine Power Mystic Realm. He waved his fist, opened the door of the Divine Power Mystic Realm, and rushed in. Su Yin felt as if he had entered an ancient world. The entire small world was filled with the waves of the divine power mystic realm. It was like the dojo of the gods. Wong. Su Yan's body trembled. Wisps of majestic airflow fell and shrouded Su Yan. Su Yan's surging Dharma characteristic power was covered. His cultivation level fell back to the divine power mystic realm. I have no hope of increasing my potential in the divine power mystic realm. I wonder if I will get some special rewards this time? Su Yan was looking forward to it. After all, he had obtained the yin-yang fish in the true dragon's lair. This was an amazing opportunity. Moreover, Su Yan had obtained more than 10 of them. There were even 2 fish kings hidden in the yin-yang river. If he could get his hands on these 2 fish kings, it would definitely be a great opportunity that even the divine king would be jealous of. Su Yan's divine power surged, and his blood essence flowed. His body was like a burning furnace, filled with divine power. He could easily crack a mountain. Let's begin. Su Yan rushed into a silver passage. The trial of the divine power mystic realm had begun. As soon as he entered, the entire silver passage lit up. All kinds of divine power gathered and began to suppress Su Yan. Boom! Su Yan's aura was released. His accumulation in the divine power mystic realm was unprecedented. The moment his aura erupted, the divine power that pounced on him collapsed. He rushed in. In the silver passage, shadows stood one after another. It was as if some living creatures were guarding here, blocking the challengers. The battle began. The first shadow rushed in and stood at the 9th level of the divine power mystic realm. It was as if an ancient world of stars had opened in its body. It stretched out a big hand, wanting to pluck the stars in the universe. This was the star-plucking hand. Su Yan's heart trembled. This trial was not simple. If he wanted to pass, he must have the ultimate combat power in the divine power mystic realm. But for Su Yan, it was not difficult at all. He swung his fist. He did not even use the power of the life spring. His entire fist was filled with yang qi as he punched forward. No matter how strong the gatekeeper was, he could not care less. In the divine power mystic realm, Su Yan's divine power could barely pierce through the sky. This punch caused the star-plucking hand to explode. The wind from his fist sent the first gatekeeper flying and disappearing in the silver passage. As soon as the first guardian disappeared, the second guardian pounced on them. Come at me together. Su Yan's aura was getting stronger. According to the information he received during the trial, using the heavenly art of the Big Dipper clan might give him an unexpected reward. Therefore, Su Yan gave it his all. His aura soared to the peak. The giant door of the divine power mystic realm rumbled and opened. One after another, the stars in the universe floated up and down. The lingering aura made the second challenger tremble. Boom! The sky was filled with divine light. Su Yan's body was like the starry sky, and his aura was like a sea of stars. The moment the Big Dipper fist was unleashed, his aura was blazing. It was like a condensed sea of stars, rippling with strands of unparalleled power. Kill! He let out a long howl and punched out, causing the entire silver passageway to tremble incessantly. One after another, the gatekeepers were swept away and were shaken by the air currents that erupted from Su Yan's fist. Big Dipper fist. Su Yan activated his strongest combat power and attacked. 7 large stars appeared and lined up in the void. They intertwined and gathered into a golden star. Dong! This punch sent a group of gatekeepers flying, sweeping across the entire place. Su Yan continued to unleash his fist, and the fist aura lit up the entire silver passage. It was as if the entire silver passage was going to explode. Suddenly, strands of horrifying waves swept across the entire place. It was as if a young supreme being who had once dominated the world had arrived. His entire body was filled with endless divine power that rushed into the heavens. This was a terrifying shadow. His silver pupils were like great stars, capable of shaking one's soul. He came for the kill. His aura was too turbulent. With a punch, the silver passage trembled. This punch seemed to have blasted out a sea of stars. His divine power was exuberant beyond compare. He was actually not inferior to Su Yan. Starry sky, tyrant body. Su Yan's black hair fluttered in the wind. His entire body shone with boundless golden light. He stood at the peak, and his palms formed fist seals as he attacked fiercely. Chapter 3:18. Within the silver passageway, huge waves rolled into the sky as divine light surged. The two strong fighters fought each other as they faced off. Both of them had recovered to their peak state. Their physical bodies were too powerful, and the amount of divine power they could tap out was similar. It was as if two divine metals were clashing here. Sounds of collisions rang out one after another, shaking the heavens and earth as the brilliance burned brightly. What a powerful astral tyrant body. Su Yan's expression was cold. He used all his strength in every attack. This was the first time he had encountered such a terrifying opponent in the transcendent power realm. In the past, most of his opponents were in the transcendence realm. However, this test was different. He was facing the supreme body, the legendary astral tyrant body. Su Yan longed to fight against such a strong fighter. Their continuous collisions caused the heavens and earth to tremble. The silver passageway buzzed. Every time they collided, they unleashed their peak combat power to fight against the strong opponent. Divine light filled the silver passageway, and there was quite a commotion outside the Big Dipper Tower. Su Yan is ranked third in the transcendent power realm. This piece of news shocked everyone. Regardless of whether the Big Dipper Tower was ranked third or fifth, it was extremely impressive to be able to leave one's mark on the current rankings. Su Yan is really something. He hasn't entered the transcendent power realm. I was wondering why Su Yan wasn't ranked. It turns out that this is his first time in the transcendent power realm. Third place is already very impressive. That's right. I feel that Su Yan's combat power in the transcendence realm is shocking. He has already killed 3 top prodigies. I think when he enters the transcendent power realm, his results will be even more shocking. The changes in the Big Dipper Tower had already been revealed by the Cosmic Horn. When the various holy sages saw this, they all nodded. It wasn't surprising that Su Yan was ranked third. He's only third. He can't compare to my son's champion. Shui family head's cold voice made some people frown. Compared to him, how could the other prodigies feel? Shuiguan was strong and had exceptional combat power. However, he was praised so highly that some holy sages were secretly unhappy. We must kill him. Despite his words, the Shui family head felt very uncomfortable. He secretly ordered, Su Yan is too big of a threat in the future. He's ranked third in the superpower realm, and his Dharma aspect realm won't be too bad. Plus, he's mastered the Fist of the North Star. His combat strength is astounding in the Big Dipper Starfield. He has a great chance of being recognized by the Big Dipper Starfield. These words made some of the elders of the Shui family nod their heads. Someone sneered and said, Shuiguan is in seclusion and has no time to deal with Su Yan. I think we should inform Kong Yuan to make a move. With his combat strength, it shouldn't be difficult for him to kill Su Yan. Moreover, the Heaven Mystic Sect and the Big Dipper Sect have never been on good terms. All right, inform Kong Yuan in secret. Shui family head nodded. The strongest force in the Heaven Mystic Starfield was the Heaven Mystic Sect, which controlled 80% of the entire Heaven Mystic Starfield. Because it was adjacent to the Big Dipper Starfield, the 2 starfields were always at loggerheads. I don't quite believe it. This shouldn't be Su Yan's result. According to this, Su Yan is much weaker than Shuiguan. That's not possible. Xiao Wan and the others were discussing. Feng Xiaomu said quietly, could it be that senior martial brother Su Yan has taken the strongest test? That's why the ranking hasn't been updated yet. Hearing this, Zuyang and the others were moved. It was very possible. Cultivating to the superpower realm was different. In the superpower realm, one could fight against 100 at once. With Su Yan's potential, it was hard for them to imagine that he might have opened a hidden trial. Kill. In the Silver Passage, 2 great experts stepped on the sky and rushed over. One side of the passage was covered by a silver wave with blazing flames. Behind him, there seemed to be a vast starfield, releasing an extremely domineering airflow that penetrated the Silver Passage. At the end of the passage, a body was burning like a golden furnace. Blood essence was flowing in all directions. Behind him, there was also a hazy sea of chaos. This was a vision. Together with their domineering battle constitutions, they clashed in the Silver Passage. The sky was full of terrifying waves, raging waves, divine light, and mysterious patterns. This was the most powerful battle. The two great experts' terrifying divine power clashed together like two tornadoes. They were evenly matched, and it was hard to tell who was the winner. Roar. The starry sky tyrant physique was like a living creature as it let out a loud roar. At this moment, it was too tyrannical. The battle prowess of the sovereign physique was activated. The entire Silver Passage was densely covered in starry splendor. Stars floated in the sky and curled up with a tyrannical aura. Su Yan's body was trembling as if it had been hammered by thousands of stars. His eyes were filled with shock. The supreme physique was really extraordinary. If it was a fully grown supreme physique, every one of them would have the strength to look down on the universe. Kill. Su Yan's blood was boiling. Facing the supreme physique's vision, his battle constitution recovered to the peak. Divine aura filled the sky, and there seemed to be supreme imprints walking in the chaos behind him. It was as if they were going to turn into immortals and Buddhas. Boom! The vision of the two great constitutions collided, distorting the whole Silver Passage. The struggle between them was too fierce. Su Yan became more and more courageous as he fought. He even burst out with the tyrant body art. His divine power rushed to the sky. However, the starry sky tyrant body naturally grasped the tyrant body art and recovered along with Su Yan. The two powerhouses were both individuals with great potential. A great battle at the pinnacle unfolded. All kinds of divine abilities and secret techniques were unleashed, clashing here one after another. Awesome, Su Yan laughed. He was worried that the reward would weaken if he spent too much time. Su Yan's aura climbed another level. He stretched out his 4 pillars and breathed out like a dragon. When his chest rose and fell, the whole place rumbled. Su Yan seemed to have turned into the 4 poles of the universe. His limbs and bones rippled with primordial power. The power that originated from the divine treasures in his body rose from the ground and was filled with terrifying power. Bang! Su Yan pushed forward with a peerless attack. He was like a giant pushing the universe. Layers of power swept over like giant waves, gushing out tens of thousands of times. For a moment, the starry sky tyrant body felt as if it had been struck by tens of thousands of lightning bolts. It was so shaken that it was about to fly out of the Silver Passage. This kind of power was very terrifying. It was excavated by Su Yan. It originated from the origin of the corporeal body and was powerful enough to shock the world. He pushed forward continuously and forced the starry sky tyrant body to retreat. Although the starry sky tyrant body also grasped the origin of the corporeal body, it wasn't as strong as Su Yan's. He was suppressed. Kill. The starry sky tyrant body seemed to have been forced to the extreme. At this moment, his aura shook violently and his roar shook the sky. His silver hair danced in the wind. Resplendent rays of light soared from the starry sky tyrant body and illuminated the sky. One after another, grand stars appeared in the sky. This is the Big Dipper fist. Su Yan turned pale and was moved. He was even excited. Since the starry sky tyrant body grasped the Big Dipper fist, it was very likely that the Big Dipper star was in its complete state. Boom! The starry sky tyrant body's power was too tyrannical. He roared and shook the sky. The moment he waved his fist, the 7 big stars gathered in his fist. At this moment, Su Yan's body was on the verge of cracking. The starry sky tyrant body's fist was like a terrifying comet. The moment it came crashing down, the entire Silver Passage couldn't help but crack. Su Yan struck out with a Big Dipper fist. However, no matter how amazing his fist momentum was, it was difficult for him to be as amazing as the starry sky tyrant body. After all, the Big Dipper fist he obtained had some flaws. It lacked the door to evolve the secret techniques of the heavens. It wasn't that the fist technique was flawed. Crack! At the moment of impact, Su Yan's whole body trembled. His entire fist cracked and blood spilled out, dyeing the void red. So strong. Su Yan laughed angrily. He was excited and shocked. The Big Dipper fist was really terrifying. He really wanted to grasp the door-knocking fist. Boom! The starry sky tyrant body pressed forward again. It was decisive and tyrannical, not giving Su Yan any time to breathe. The Big Dipper fist erupted again. It was overbearing and filled with the power of the heavens. Once the fist technique was activated, the fist radiance shot into the sky. It was as if the 7 stars had merged into one and turned into an ancient star. The fist momentum was unparalleled and unstoppable. Su Yan was sent flying, but his fighting spirit was high. He jumped up and stared at the process of the starry sky, tyrant body, evolving the fist technique. He felt something and used the Big Dipper fist to resist. Blood sputtered in the silver passage. Su Yan suffered heavy damage with every attack. Fortunately, his body was strong and his foundation was shocking. Otherwise, he would have been sent flying. Su Yan smiled bitterly. The difficulty of breaking through is so high. How many people could break through? Gradually, every inch of the silver passage was filled with the aura of the Big Dipper fist. It was like a mark that was branded in the void and wouldn't dissipate for a long time. Su Yan blended with it and gained a lot. He was overjoyed. There were some inheritances in the divine secret realm, but he had to pass the test to get them. Boom! Su Yan roared and fought with the starry sky tyrant body. He continued to evolve the Big Dipper fist, shaking out his divine power. He visualized the Big Dipper and visualized his spiritual will. Finally, his primordial spirit burned as if it had turned into a god, giving the Big Dipper fist a divine charm. The 7 great stars were arranged in a row. Some of them were dazzling, some of them were filled with terrifying power, and some of them were exuberant and peerless. Dubby star, Merak star, Alya star, Alcade star, Kyong star, Migrez star, and Fectus star. The 7 stars were in different forms. When they awakened one after another, the sky was illuminated. The 7 stars rotated as if they had evolved into a star field, evolving into the Big Dipper star field. Su Yan's fist was exuding a majestic aura. It was as if a golden star was burning fiercely and burst out with unparalleled divine power. Big Dipper fist. Su Yan roared. He wielded his strongest combat power and unleashed the most terrifying source of power to compete with the starry sky tyrant body that was charging at him. The entire silver passage exploded because it couldn't withstand the shock waves of the collision. The 2 experts flew out like kites with broken strings. However, Su Yan's performance was stronger. The primordial power that came out of his divine treasures blocked the brutal attacks of the Big Dipper's power. He only took a dozen steps back. As for the starry sky tyrant body, it flew out of the silver passage and was eliminated. Chapter 319. A past. I almost failed. Fortunately, I evolved the Fist of the North Star to a higher level. Su Yan had a lingering fear as he stared at the astral tyrant body that flew out. He heaved a sigh of relief and panted heavily. He stood in the broken silver passage and silently thought about his flaws in this battle. Su Yan sat down cross-legged. His face was pale as he began to recuperate. He took out heavenly essence stones to recover his energy. I wonder what I'll get. After all, I defeated the astral tyrant body. The reward shouldn't be too bad. Su Yan's eyes were filled with anticipation as he scanned the broken silver passage. He suddenly had a premonition that perhaps this challenge wouldn't end so easily. Is it that abnormal? Or is the next test of the Transcendence realm also here? Su Yan muttered in his heart. However, he felt that no matter how strong the divine secret realm was, how strong could it be? According to common sense, Su Yan defeated the astral tyrant body, which meant that he could look down on the world in this realm. Time trickled by, and Su Yan's recovery speed was very fast. He had a sense of urgency as he took out 50 kilograms of Heaven's Essence stones and circulated the initial sutra to absorb them. With his refining speed, it wouldn't take long for 50 kilograms of heaven's essence stones to be exhausted. Su Yan's treasure body glowed as he swallowed the last mouthful of heavenly essence qi. His weak body was nourished, and the wounds on his body began to heal. His battle body was very powerful. It was indestructible and filled with astonishing divine power. Su Yan recovered and stood at the peak. The moment he stood up, the aura he emitted caused the broken silver passage to collapse. However, the scene that appeared shocked Su Yan. He looked around solemnly. It was an ancient world filled with god-fiend fluctuations that gave people a sense of oppression. The atmosphere between heaven and earth was a little gloomy, as if a storm was coming. Su Yan felt suffocated. He looked around with his sharp eyes and didn't find a gatekeeper. Su Yan walked forward. This world didn't look big. It was like an ancient cave, and it emitted a terrifying aura like that of a fiend god. In the end, Su Yan found a huge canyon. He stood at a high vantage point and looked into the distance. He saw the aura of gods and devils gushing out from the canyon. The ominous glint pierced through the sky as if countless gods and devils were standing in the canyon. Stone inscription diagram. Su Yan discovered many ancient stone inscriptions in the canyon. Each stone inscription emitted an aura of desolation, as though they were left behind from the ancient desolate era. The carvings on the stone carvings were all different. Who carved these stone carvings? Could it be that he's proficient in the divine arts of the various races? Su Yan was shocked. He saw the true dragon stone engraving diagram, the immortal phoenix stone engraving diagram, the qilin, the three-legged golden crow, the swanee, the tautai, the soaring serpent. Each of the stone inscriptions was filled with a savage aura, as if they were alive. They could easily release a world-shaking, ominous light. There were at least 1,000 stone carvings below. Some of the stone carvings were even of primordial ancestors. Some were experts with 3 heads and 6 arms, gods and devils with heavenly eyes between their brows, and humanoid creatures with giant wings. There were all kinds of strange stone carvings. Most of them were creatures that Su Yan had never seen before. Just as he was looking, he discovered that some of the stone carvings were glowing. The entire canyon began to rumble as a kind of energy gushed out and pulled Su Yan down. Boom! At this moment, the sky seemed to have exploded. Hundreds of terrifying auras erupted. The stone carvings were glowing, reviving, and blazing. It was a very strange scene. One after another, giant creatures drilled out from the stone carvings. They were all terrifying great beasts that ran amok in the universe. Every one of them had a great background. Roar! A sharp whistling sound exploded, almost tearing apart one's eardrums. It was a scarlet centipede. It was actually flying in the sky. This was the legendary flying centipede. It pounced towards Su Yan. It wasn't just one. One after another, giant beasts roared as they swallowed the moon. The entire canyon was filled with the aura of gods and devils. It was as if they had returned to the primordial era, an era where the world was in chaos and kings were fighting for supremacy. In a single exchange, the primordial aura swept out and filled the void. Su Yan's spiritual will was on the verge of shattering. He couldn't help but feel a wisp of fear. What kind of trial was this? Just this kind of ferocious aura was absolutely not something an ordinary person could endure. Even the vicious beasts pouncing out were rapidly enlarging. A tautai was as big as a primordial mountain. It opened its bloody mouth and was about to swallow the entire firmament. The aura of destruction whistled in all directions, swallowing the heaven and earth. In the canyon, hundreds of giant beast kings were roaring as their bodies rapidly enlarged. They filled the entire heaven and earth as they pounced towards Su Yan. What's there to be afraid of? Su Yan's eyes were wide open. His clothes were flapping loudly, and his head of long black hair was dancing in a mess. He let out a long howl as his courageous spiritual will erupted. His sealed, treasured body erupted as the power of his Dharma idol poured out in full force and pierced through the firmament. Kill! Su Yan let out a long howl. This was a cruel trial. The hundreds of beast kings were pouncing toward Su Yin. One exchange was enough to crush Su Yin. He instantly unleashed his strongest state. A blurry sea of chaos rose behind him and was released in the canyon to meet the beast hordes. Boom! Heaven and earth rumbled. Of course, the beast hordes couldn't all pounce at once. Otherwise, no one would be able to withstand it. There were only a few that pounced. At that moment, Su Yin realized that the beast hordes were just projections. To be more precise, they were Dharma idols. This was shocking enough. Every Dharma idol was filled with a ferocious aura that could destroy the heavens and the earth. They spat out Dharma idol rules that made them seem like living creatures. The atmosphere in the canyon was extremely violent. It was as if they had returned to the primordial era. The beast hordes were attacking, and a war had broken out. Su Yin realized that his physical body had been sealed. Only his Dharma power could unleash the power that it should have. The blurry, chaotic ocean's power was monstrous. In terms of power, it was enough to suppress the Dharma power of any king beast. But he had noticed a critical problem. His Dharma idol lacked the essence it should have. It was like an empty substance. Su Yin observed the beast kings. Those beast kings were extremely ferocious, filled with ferocious energy. They emitted tens of thousands of rays of light that blotted out the sky and the sun. The entire canyon was shrouded in the shadows of the beasts. Su Yan's Dharma idol was under extreme pressure. No matter how strong it was severely injured. It was about to be destroyed along with the beast kings. Su Yin felt enlightened. He recalled the Dharma idol manual that the chief elder had given him and carefully studied it. As time went by, the blurry sea of chaos was trembling. It couldn't hold on much longer. More and more beast kings were coming. Su Yan's Dharma idol was about to explode. Buzzing, Su Yan's body that had been suppressed suddenly glowed like a burning sun. His essence and blood surged. Surrounded by a primitive atmosphere, he pierced through the sky and drilled into the sea of chaos. The blurry primal chaos ocean became clearer. When his forehead glowed and his primordial spirit surged out of his soul and penetrated into the primal chaos ocean, Su Yin realized that his natal Dharma was magnificent and mysterious. "This is my Dharma idol," a voice came from the sea of chaos. The essence and blood converged into a shadow, like a giant standing in the sea of chaos. "Come back." The blurry sea of chaos shrank and entered Su Yan's Dharma idol. At that moment, his huge shadow was like a god of war that had awakened. Boom! Su Yan swung his fist. Golden light filled the sky and penetrated the earth. It was as if he had created a small world with unparalleled power. He fought with the beast kings. The power of his fist shook the world. The atmosphere in the valley changed. Su Yan's strength was awakening. He was going to break through the blockade of the beast kings. The duration of the battle was getting longer and longer. Su Yan was tireless. He was always at his peak, fighting with the beast kings. As time went by, more and more beast kings came. There were already over a dozen of them. They all rushed over, shaking the huge Su Yin standing in the sky. Roar! A dragon's roar erupted from Su Yan's Dharma form, and his body suddenly disappeared. When he reappeared, he had transformed into a divine dragon. He raised his head and roared as he charged into the sky. He collided with a group of beast kings, causing their bodies to twist as if they were about to shatter. The valley was in chaos. Over a dozen beast kings came out again. It was as if it was devouring a dragon, locking down the entire canyon and preventing Su Yan's Dharma idol from charging in. The sky was filled with ripples of divine light. The beast kings had come out. The scene was terrifying. Even the dragon was about to be crushed. Su Yan's Dharma idol was changing. It turned into a huge dragon claw that tore open the void. Dharma idol was like a spell. Su Yan's mastery of divine abilities had improved by leaps and bounds, and he was filled with the might of a great divine ability at all times. The battle had reached its climax. Over 100 beast kings came. The scene was so fierce that Su Yan's Dharma idol was about to be crushed. Su Yan looked up to the sky and roared. The huge Dharma idol sometimes looked like a dragon, sometimes like a star, sometimes like a dragon claw. Every single aura was abnormally terrifying. When the condensed primal chaos ocean flashed, there was a terrifying fluctuation that could tear the sky apart, sweeping out. Fist of a North Star. The Dharma that filled the sky dissipated. Su Yan's body, which had been imprisoned, suddenly soared into the air. He raised his fist and punched out. The world was shaken. This was because behind him, a dazzling light overflowed into the sky. A blurry, chaotic ocean appeared, and a majestic figure stood within it. It was as if a divine king was following Su Yan and swinging his fists. That punch was iron-blooded and domineering. Su Yan's Dharma was awakened at the same time. The power of his spell was even greater. A huge black crack appeared and pierced through the sky. It shattered several Beast King's Dharma idols and soared into the sky. Dragon's secret skill, he punched out again, resonating with his natal Dharma idol. A true dragon appeared, full of divine charm and surging heavenly force. It was so lifelike that it made the group of beasts tremble, as if they were facing a real, true dragon. Dharma idol, celestial phenomenon. Chapter 320. Unbelievable. A piece of news spread across the entire Big Dipper, causing the universe masters who were paying attention to it to turn pale. Su Yan's name had appeared at the top of the Superpower Secret Zone list. He sat cross-legged at the top of the list like a young god of war, high above everyone else. How terrifying was this? Su Yan had reached the top of the Superpower Secret Zone and was crowned number 1. Even Shui Guan had been pushed down. Su Yan is number 1 on the Superpower Secret Zone list. This news caused a huge commotion. After all, Su Yan had once been number 1 in the Dao Zone. Even Shui Guan couldn't break his record. But now, Su Yan had broken Shui Guan's record and was on his way to number 1 in the Superpower Secret Zone. This was shocking. After all, the Superpower Secret Zone was different. If he was number 1 in this zone, then how could Su Yan's potential be weak in the Dharma Characteristic Zone? Could Su Yan have broken Shui Guan's ranking in the Dharma Characteristic Zone? Someone exclaimed in shock. If that's the case, then Su Yan is really terrifying. He has already risen. Is the Big Dipper lineage going to prosper? People recalled the battle between Su Yan and Shui Guan and couldn't help but be speechless. Perhaps in the future, Su Yan would really be qualified to dominate the Big Dipper Star Zone and become the Supreme Star Zone. Once this day came, his rise would be unstoppable. He would be able to soar into the sky and look down on the world. It is indeed surprising. However, it is almost impossible to break Shui Guan's Dharma power ranking. After all, Shui Guan has the mysterious dragon and phoenix Dharma power. When he fought with Su Yan or the Sovereign Physique, he did not force Shui Guan to use his full Dharma power. No matter how strong Su Yan's Dharma power is, it cannot surpass Shui Guan's. After all, this was the first time that the dragon and phoenix Dharma had appeared in the world of cultivation. Just a single Dharma was already shocking enough, and Shui Guan had cultivated 2 heaven-defying Dharma. If Shui Guan had an opportunity in the future and obtained the supreme true dragon blood and immortal phoenix blood, then perhaps he would have 2 supreme magical projections on his back. His accomplishments would be limitless. No matter what, this matter caused a huge commotion. In the Grand Canyon, Su Yan's bloody battle was still ongoing. A mysterious energy floated in the air, replenishing Su Yan's exhaustion. It allowed him to stand at the peak at any time, ready to face the next test. This test was very special. The energy emitted by the stone inscription was always in the same domain as Su Yan's. Kill. The Grand Canyon was sealed once again. This was because the horde of beasts that rushed out were even stronger than the first batch. There were terrifying prehistoric beasts, ancient beasts that had disappeared for thousands of years, and there were also pictures of gods and demons that had once dominated the world in a certain era. This was the birth of a great collision. The entire Grand Canyon was filled with the power of the Dharma power. It was dazzling. They evolved into a murderous force that attacked Su Yan. As time passed, Su Yan discovered a very important problem. The Dharma idol that had drilled out of the stone inscription was resonating with the densely packed inscriptions on the stone inscription. Every time a giant evil beast pounced on him, the stone inscription would glow. This is an inheritance, Su Yin calmly discovered. Then he multitasked. While resisting the horde of beasts, he released his primordial spirit to observe the stone inscription. These stone inscription diagrams were like a type of inheritance or a type of supernatural power. The construction methods of the rules and patterns were all strange. Every stone inscription diagram was unique. Su Yin was pleasantly surprised. He felt that he had come into contact with an incredible inheritance. Once he grasped the method of inscribing the stone inscription diagrams, his attainments in the Dharma phase realm would increase by leaps and bounds. The supernatural powers and secret techniques he evolved would even be stronger. True Dragon's secret technique. At the same time, Su Yin observed the dragon totem. He was prepared to evolve his supernatural power step by step into the domain of great success. Every rule contained the power of heaven and earth. This was the mysterious power of the world. If one could comprehend it to the peak, then it would sublimate and evolve into a great Tao. This was the path that billions of living beings pursued. This was the path that led to the strong. However, it was too difficult. Otherwise, Shuiguan would not have come into contact with a great Tao and caused such a huge commotion. Once a prodigy who was qualified to be conferred the title of Supreme Being of Stellar Domain evolved into a great Tao, it would be truly shocking. Su Yan's primordial spirit glowed. Because the power of his Dharma phase had reached a higher level, Su Yan's primordial spirit also grew stronger. His soul spirit was full and sparkling. He felt like he had broken through a barrier and entered the void realm. What was the void realm? Once one reached this realm, their primordial spirit would be majestic and shocking. Su Yin realized that this step was really important. If he could cultivate to this step, it would play a crucial role in his attainments in the Dharma phase realm. Fortunately, he had mastered the Sutra of the Future, a shocking heavenly art of Buddhism, which made up for some of the deficiencies of his primordial spirit. Buzz. Su Yan's primordial spirit burned fiercely. Stone inscription diagrams flashed one after another. Each stone inscription diagram was formed by the interweaving of rules and patterns. The more he comprehended, the more terrifying his combat power would be. Boom! His body seemed to have torn apart layers of shackles. His entire body was densely covered with the dense patterns of rules, emitting a terrifying wave of profound meaning. The air current that lingered around the beginning of all things. This was the power of the Sutra of the beginning. It was climbing to a new realm. At this moment, Su Yan's body was rapidly expanding, powerful and majestic like a mountain. He was like a giant that had been born here. He emitted a dazzling brilliance and swallowed the spiritual essence of heaven and earth. He was like a heavenly furnace. Su Yin was pleasantly surprised. He had touched upon an important realm, the great Tao heavenly furnace. With the body as the furnace, the rules turned into the flames of the great Tao heavenly furnace. Once he touched the great Tao heavenly furnace, Su Yan's path to cultivating a peerless combat body had opened a door. Boom! Su Yan rode the wind and broke through the waves. He punched out, bringing with him a thunderous sound that shattered the universe. A dragon drilled out. Golden radiance landed heavily on the ground, wreaking havoc in the surging energy source. This dragon looked very small, as if it had been condensed together. It was a small dragon the size of palm. But when it soared into the 9 heavens, it shook the heavens and covered the world. The dragon divine light shone brightly. Its huge body pierced through the clouds, breaking through the layers of seals of the canyon. It rose from the ground and pierced through the clouds. Su Yan had passed the 2nd stage, but when the 3rd stage arrived, it was as if the end of the universe had arrived. The killing light between heaven and earth was like a sea. There were true dragons, primordial vermilion birds, immortal phoenixes, dragon snakes, golden crows, bifong, cheongqi, pegasi. This was the most powerful storm. It was as if a group of peak Dharma characteristics had been born. The aura that was as heavy as the sky rushed over, drowning the world and swallowing the true dragon's secret technique. Su Yan's hair stood on end. This was too terrifying. What kind of trial was this? It was definitely a trial for the peak of the creation Dharma power. Roar, roar, roar. The sky was filled with peerless killing. One after another, the shocking stone inscriptions were burning. The rules gushed out like the sea, filling the entire canyon. It was as if the kings had awakened here, roaring throughout the canyon. No matter how terrifying Su Yan's power was, he was dim in the face of such attacks. He was attacked by dozens of peak Dharma characteristics. But in the canyon, there was a vast wave of profound meaning. The profound meaning of the rules was like the strongest profound meaning, flowing in the void and overflowing. Su Yan's primordial spirit sat cross-legged, comprehending the power of these profound meanings and studying the Dharma characteristics chapter of the beginning sutra. Endless changes, strange phenomena kept appearing behind him. There were all kinds of creatures, artifacts, gods, devils, ferocious beasts, divine birds, Tao bells. Su Yan was like the ruler of all creatures. His eyes shone with divine light, and his body was steaming with auspicious clouds. He had a kind of enlightenment. He studied the opening chapter of the beginning sutra again and learned a lot. He saw something different. The beginning of all things. Su Yan's words were like thunder. His body was surging with all kinds of light. It was very bright, like all kinds of living creatures. And in his huge life spring, there were true dragons in the sky, black tortoises in the sea, vermilion birds burning the sky, and the sun burning. Su Yan's limbs and bones were rippling with terrifying power. This was a treasure that originated from his body. The primitive power was dug out by Su Yan. It soared and rapidly expanded. This kind of human body's most basic power was a lot more vigorous. Su Yan's strength increased sharply. His precious body was like a small world. His body was like the primordial universe, nourishing all creatures and stepping on the path of the beginning of all things. He understood and laughed toward the sky. This was the true meaning of the opening chapter of the beginning sutra. Once he understood the path of the beginning of all things, Su Yan seemed to have returned to the beginning. His entire precious body soared with all kinds of terrifying light, illuminating the sky. It was as if a miniature universe was awakening. It was like a mother sutra that returned to the beginning and reenacted the primordial realm. Boom! His body was like the evolution of the universe. Su Yan was majestic and imposing, penetrating the heavens and the earth. At this moment, he was somewhat terrifying. It was as if he was the reincarnation of an ancient emperor. Every movement of his would erupt with world-shaking power, suppressing the heaven and earth until they were dark. Especially within his precious body, all kinds of lights were released. His body turned into a heavenly furnace and his life sprang into flames. At the moment of burning, the aura of the Dharma idol rose. It was so vigorous and tyrannical that the entire canyon was about to explode. Su Yan's aura surged, and his divine might overflowed the heavens. His understanding of the beginning sutra had reached a new level. Su Yan's battle prowess had crossed a watershed. Swoosh! He suddenly soared into the sky with an imposing aura. He punched out, causing the heaven and earth to rumble and the void to collapse. It was as if a dam had burst open. 7 great stars of the universe drilled out and gathered together to form a battle star physique. Bang! A large crack appeared in the canyon, and the phantoms of the beasts twisted and dispersed. Su Yan stood tall within the canyon. His clothes fluttered loudly as his aura pierced through the sea of clouds. Su Yan wasn't pleasantly surprised. Instead, he frowned. His eyes scanned the stone carvings. He really wanted to go through another level. This was because he wanted to train the various abhijnas and push the power of the Dharma idol to a stronger level. Unfortunately, the test of the Dharma idol secret realm had ended. Suddenly, a majestic force swept over. It's here. Su Yan was looking forward to it. He didn't know what kind of resources he would receive. Back then, he had obtained the starry sky elixir in the Tao realm. Then, what kind of resources would he receive after passing the test of the Dharma idol secret realm? When Su Yin came back to his senses again, it was as if he was standing in outer space in a vast expanse of stars. Su Yan's expression was a bit strange. He saw a blurry yet bright figure in this expanse of stars. It was like a woman with peerless beauty and a suppressive aura. Chapter 3:21. Su Yin looked up at the figure that filled the starry sky. She seemed to be sitting cross-legged in the past. Her figure was blurry yet majestic. She had peerless elegance as she looked down at the starry sky. Her posture was indescribable. The stars in the universe seemed small in front of her. She was like the master of the starry sky, making Su Yin feel suffocated. What a powerful figure. Su Yin clenched his fists. His eyes shone as he looked at this unimaginable woman. How strong was she? This was an unknown. Su Yin felt an immortal aura from her. She was like a true immortal looking down on the world. This person had once existed. There was no doubt about it. Su Yin was shocked. A person could really be so terrifying that they could look down on the universe. This was not a legend. Su Yin had seen it today. Su Yin looked and looked. It was as if he saw a huge whirlpool. The entire starry sky was twisting, including this person. Everything about her disappeared, turning into a stream of light. Su Yin felt like he was dreaming. What happened just now seemed unreal, as if it had never existed. His eyes scanned the surroundings. The starry sky had returned to normal. However, Su Yin saw a Tao palace floating in the starry sky. Su Yin came before the Tao palace. The Tao palace was filled with an ancient aura. He did not know how long it had been here. From the Tao palace, Su Yin felt an aura of the great Tao. The good fortune is inside. Su Yin took a deep breath. He pushed open the door to the Tao palace. It was as if he had opened a sea of stars. The bright light was so dazzling that Su Yin could not open his eyes. Boom! The aura of the great Tao was as deep as the sea. The scene inside the Tao palace was shocking. The sun, moon, and stars were like grains of sand. They looked small, but in fact, each grain was filled with a shocking aura. Countless suns, moons, and stars intertwined with profound Tao marks. This was evolved from the great Tao. Su Yin entered the Tao palace. It was as if he had entered a celestial land. He came to a dazzling sea of stars. The sun, moon, and stars floated around him. They looked very small, like specks of dust. They were like pieces of star sand. Dong! Dong! There seemed to be a yellow bell ringing between heaven and earth. It vibrated with the sound of the great Tao and fell into Su Yan's ears. The sound of the great Tao was like enlightenment. It made Su Yan's body, red light was blazing. His body seemed to be burning. The power of the great path made Su Yin feel as if he was seeing a brand new world. The entire world had changed. Waves of the great path that were like the sea rumbled in the nine heavens. Stars from the universe sprinkled down. They enlarged and filled the void, rumbling as they revolved. This principal world contained a power that was difficult for people to understand. Now, it appeared in front of Su Yan's eyes. Was it? Chirp! A phoenix flew over. The power of its Dharma idol overflowed. Its aura rushed into the clouds. When it erupted to a certain extent, it seemed to have turned into a supreme divine beast. It spread its huge wings. Its wings were like immortal swords. They split open a corner of the starry sky and rushed into outer space. Chi, a sword embryo, was slashing out. It caused the great Tao to rumble. It seemed to have turned into a heavenly sword of the great Tao. The sword radiance that slashed out was boundless. It was terrifying and sharp. It cut through the heavens and cut down a large area of stars. Wong, a stalk of grass took root in the desert. After experiencing tribulation, it turned into a stalk of grass that was as tall as the heavens. But in the end, it transformed. It was resplendent and overflowed into the heavens. It erupted with life essence that pierced through the heavens. Su Yin even saw an ant with boundless strength. One day, it would soar into the sky. The power it wielded made heaven and earth tremble. The essence blood in its body was about to drown the great universe. This wasn't a phenomenon, but a scene evolved from the great Tao. It seemed to record the scenes of those who achieved the Tao in the past. This was an inheritance, a priceless inheritance. It was extremely precious. Even to the peak powers of the universe, it was a priceless treasure trove. It was incomparably helpful in comprehending the Tao. A great opportunity. When the great Tao that filled the sky dispersed, Su Yan's eyes suddenly opened. All sorts of scenes of comprehending the Tao remained in his pupils. These were very precious memories. In the future, when Su Yan had the qualifications to come into contact with the great Tao, they would appear once more and help Su Yan. He pondered silently. Only now did he realize that his understanding of the rules had once again climbed and taken a huge step forward. This made him pleasantly surprised and moved. It had to be said that a peak force that grasped a super inheritance really had an immeasurable foundation. Although the Big Dipper bloodline had declined, it still preserved its strongest inheritance. He couldn't help but be puzzled. Was the beginning sutra the scripture of the Big Dipper bloodline? Following this, the phenomenon within the Tao Palace was restrained. Everything returned to tranquility. However, within the Tao Palace, layers upon layers of the light of the great Tao spread out. There was an ancient pool within. Clouds were rising and rosy, with tens of thousands of strands of auspicious light. Su Yan walked over. As he looked at the ancient pool, it was like he could see a vast sea of the great Tao rising and falling. His face paled. When he looked at it once more, the scene changed. Within the ancient pool, beams of light flowed like rainbows. Each beam was like the most resplendent light in the world, filled with the charm of the great Tao. The aura of the great Tao. Su Yan laughed heartily. This was something he yearned for even in his dreams. If he wanted to cultivate the great Tao heavenly furnace, the aura of the great Tao was essential. To those who comprehended the Tao, this was an unprecedented help. There was no need to mention its value. It was difficult to measure it in terms of wealth. Of course, it was impossible for the ancient pool to contain an entire pool of aura of the great Tao. Aura of the great Tao was relatively rare. Within the pool, there was a brilliant and vibrant liquid that contained the exuberant fluctuations of the great Tao. Without a doubt, this was a priceless liquid. Bang! Su Yan jumped into the ancient pool. He sat cross-legged inside. The liquid of the great Tao submerged his chest. Just as he sat inside, Su Yan's body seemed to be on fire. This was because the divine power contained within the liquid of the great Tao was too exuberant. Wisps of golden liquid of the great Tao drilled into his body, causing his entire body to be so resplendent that it was about to explode. The substance contained within this liquid of the great Tao was unimaginable. It stimulated Su Yan's potential to the extreme. His original strength of the third heaven of the Transcendence realm broke through a shackle in an instant. The Transcendence divine power in his body soared. He had broken through and stepped into the fourth heaven of the Transcendence realm. What a powerful medicinal power! Su Yan instantly closed all the pores on his body. There was already a lot of liquid of the great Tao in his body. He circulated the beginning sutra and used the great Tao Heavenly Furnace chapter to stimulate the liquid of the great Tao as a furnace fire. He began to refine his peerless body. Comfortable, Su Yan grinned. The liquid of the great Tao constantly washed his body, washing away the impurities and removing the impurities. With each wash, Su Yan's body became sparkling and translucent, as if he had turned into a golden god. This was just the beginning. Su Yan constantly stimulated the liquid of the great Tao to wash his body and internal organs. It would be a waste if this rare liquid of the great Tao was not put to good use. The liquid of the great Tao had the effect of purifying the body and nourishing the divine treasures. After washing over and over again, Su Yan's body became more and more radiant. Even the essence and blood contained within began to fill up and flourish. Suddenly, Su Yan heard the great Tao heavenly melody. He instantly got rid of all distracting thoughts and focused on comprehending the great Tao aura contained within the liquid of the great Tao. A pearl of the great Tao floated on his forehead. Cultivating the great Tao heavenly furnace was not something that could be done with a simple foundation. Su Yan's cultivation time was too short. Now that he had such an opportunity, he would naturally seize it well and comprehend a deeper level of power between heaven and earth. This is heaven-defying. Su Yan has become #1 in the Dharma characteristic realm. This is a bloodbath on the rankings. It's simply unreasonable. Shueguan's ranking has now been pushed down by Su Yan. As the news spread, many cultivators who believed in Shueguan's invincibility fell silent. Now, Shueguan was still #1 in the primordial realm, but his two top rankings in the divine power mystic realm and Dharma characteristic mystic realm had now been snatched away by Su Yan. Unbelievable. Could it be that Su Yan has reached the peak of the Dharma characteristic realm? Impossible. His cultivation speed is too fast. How can he reach the peak of the Dharma characteristic realm so quickly? If that's not the case, then it's terrifying. If the Big Dipper Tower's rankings can measure the combat strength of the Big Dipper lineage's young geniuses, then can Su Yan be ranked as the strongest of the younger generation? The Big Dipper Tower was in an uproar. They seemed to be witnessing the rise of a generation's legend. Some people felt that perhaps Su Yan could really catch up to Shueguan and start a battle for the supreme title of Starfield. The masters of the universe were stunned. They rubbed their eyes to confirm that their eyes were not deceiving them. Su Yan was indeed at the top of the rankings. He now occupied 3 of the rankings. Boom! The Big Dipper City, which was abuzz with discussion, once again erupted with terrifying airflows. The sky darkened and was then illuminated by the boundless light until it was as red as blood. A majestic and terrifying aura spread throughout the Big Dipper City. It was as if a condensed star field was projected here, illuminating the sky and suppressing all life in the universe. The time has come. Why haven't I seen Su Yan? A dignified voice exploded. Kong Yuan was extremely dissatisfied. He was like an emperor who had issued a decree for Su Yan to kneel outside the city and await his death. Kong Yuan has awakened. The members of the Shui family have stepped into Kong Yuan's official residence. The Big Dipper City was in an uproar. Various forces were paying attention. They wanted to know if Kong Yuan would make a move against the Big Dipper prodigy. Humph! What *** T number, one of the 3 rankings? Kong Yuan's eyes widened in anger. His physique was like a burning red star. He said disdainfully, "This is the Big Dipper Tower. This is the inheritance tower of the Big Dipper lineage. What's laughable is that you're talking about ranking. This is truly a joke. This is a truly cruel test, and outsiders can't accept it. So that's how it is. No wonder our race's champion was suppressed." A Shui family elder shouted angrily. The Big Dipper City was in an uproar. This sentence should be reliable. After all, there were rewards in the Big Dipper Tower, and it couldn't be given to outsiders. What **T Big Dipper prodigy? Who gave him the title? His path as a prodigy can stop in front of me. Anger surged in Kong Yuan's body, and he let out a murderous voice. "Lead the way. I'll go and kill him." The Big Dipper City was filled with murderous intent. Kong Yuan's departure made everyone pale. Was he going to fight with the Big Dipper prodigy? Ugh. Chapter 322. The struggle for supremacy on the Big Dipper was getting more intense. According to the records of the previous years, the Big Dipper was about to be unsealed. When the experts from the outside world came in, the younger generation wouldn't be able to survive here. The disciples of the Big Dipper faction are in for it. The news spread like wildfire. Now, Kong Yuan wanted to target Su Yan. After all, he had a good relationship with Shueguan. Moreover, Kong Yuan's mount was killed by Su Yan with a single slap. Now, however, a bloody storm was coming from the Big Dipper, shocking everyone. Even though they were far away, they could still feel the cold, murderous intent. This was a group of cavalry, and they held shiny killing swords that illuminated people's souls. Kill! The surging killing intent spread for thousands of miles. Some people saw a mountain range collapse. Endless rocks flew into the sky and collapsed the clouds. The sky trembled. This group of cavalry was too terrifying. They looked down on everything in their path. Their strength was so strong that even the geniuses were frightened. They are definitely the elites of the Ancestral Hall. This group of cavalry is very strong. They are all peak Transcendence Realm experts. Ingjia. Su Yin killed Zhu Xing. I didn't expect revenge to come so quickly. It seems like Zhu Xing's position in the Ancestral Hall is very high. Otherwise, it would be impossible for a group of cavalry to come here. The Ancestral Hall is indeed the Ancestral Hall. They are really strong. They started a massacre on the Big Dipper and brazenly chased the disciples of the Big Dipper faction. The Alcade Hall is too pitiful. Even Mizar Juzi was injured. If not for his secret treasure, he might have died. This was a sudden incident. The Ancestral Hall suddenly sent a group of powerful cavalry to attack the Big Dipper faction. The 7 halls were the first to suffer. The fleeing disciples were cursing. Su Yin killed Zhu Xing, but they were enemies with Su Yin in the past. See, I already said that Su Yin caused a big disaster. Now that the Ancestral Hall is here, how can we let this go? Han Jin's face was ashen because the majority of the dead disciples were under his command. This made his expression extremely ugly. He angrily said, "This Su Yin caused such a huge disaster, yet he still has the face to hide in the Big Dipper Tower to cultivate in seclusion." Star Element's face was gloomy. He was too lazy to say another word to Han Jin. Now that so many Ingjia had come to the Ancestral Hall, they must be here for Zhu Xing's death. However, Su Yin was currently in the Big Dipper Tower. There was no way to inform him to leave. Su Yin had been in seclusion for some time in the Holy Ji Palace of the Big Dipper Tower. His precious body contained astonishing potential. The great Tao precious liquid nourished Su Yin until his body was sparkling and translucent. Divine multicolored light shot out in all directions, and there seemed to be a heavenly sun rising and falling continuously within his body. It was surrounded by boundless divine might. Buzz. He was tempering his divine power. The cultivation of the great Tao heavenly furnace had reached a critical stage. During this time, his precious body had also been nourished by the great Tao precious liquid. It was shockingly powerful and filled with the power of Yang. It could erupt with unparalleled combat strength at any moment. Some impurities were even squeezed out of his body. The baptism of the great Tao precious liquid was truly astonishing. Su Yan's precious body was flawless and filled with the vitality of a true dragon. It overflowed like a tide. The divine power in his body surged. His precious body shone, illuminating the entire Holy Ji Palace. I can begin. Sensing the current strength of his physical body, Su Yin took a deep breath. There were more than a dozen chi of the Great Path in the ancient pool, one after another. They were like true dragons of the Great Path flowing in the void. Each chi of the Great Path contained the power of the Great Path. Su Yin fiercely opened his mouth and swallowed a great Tao aura. At this moment, Su Yan's entire body trembled violently. He felt like he was about to be torn apart by the great Tao aura. This was because the fluctuations of the great Tao it contained were too terrifying. It was filled with an aura that could collapse the heavens. It was about to tear Su Yan's entire body apart. This was even more cruel than the lightning of the past when he refined his body. His body was bending, and his entire precious body was about to collapse. Blood seeped out of his pores. The pain was unbearable. The great Tao was not something Su Yin could easily subdue and refine. Refine for me. Su Yin resisted the pain and visualized the great Tao heavenly furnace. His entire precious body was sealed, as if a heavenly furnace had been born. The moment the beginning sutra was activated, his body rumbled like a tsunami. This aura did not seem strong, but it actually contained the power of the great Tao. It hurt people without form. Su Yin felt that the killing sword he had just swallowed was about to pierce through his organs. His aura was rapidly weakening, and his body was about to be crushed by the great Tao aura. Under the operation of the beginning sutra, the great Tao aura was twisting. The great Tao heavenly furnace had the effect of stealing the fortune of heaven and earth. With every breath, the great Tao aura was twisted and compressed into a ball of furnace fire. Buzz! Su Yan's precious body trembled. When the furnace fire burned, it actually turned into wisps of light of the great Tao, sprinkling on Su Yan's body. Like spring bamboo after the rain, Su Yan's weakened blood and qi suddenly became strong. He seemed to be bathed in the rain of light of the great Tao again. His entire precious body was as bright as the sun in the sky. Su Yan's body greedily absorbed the rain of light of the great Tao. What surprised him was that his constitution was also absorbing it. He wanted to use the great Tao aura to make up for the flaws in his constitution. There was even a part of the rain of light of the great Tao that gathered on Su Yan's chest. It gathered into a natal theurgy that was shrouded in endless divine light. Only a small part was absorbed by Su Yan's body to nourish his body. It was not enough at all. Su Yan fiercely swallowed the second great Tao aura. Just like that, one after another, Su Yan swallowed it into his stomach. He constantly endured the pain and the slashing of the great Tao. He endured it again and again. His blood and qi sometimes declined and sometimes flourished. During this process, it was as if he was being reborn from the ashes again and again. Because every time his declining blood and qi were replenished and restored to their peak state, Su Yan's precious body would always be stronger, especially his constitution. It was dazzling and divine aura filled the Tao Palace. Su Yan seemed to have turned into a golden god. His constitution was repaired, and the primitive strength that had been excavated was strengthened again. After swallowing the last few strands of great Tao aura, Su Yan's condition was much better. He also felt that it was a pity that there was too little great Tao aura. Otherwise, it could have repaired his constitution even more. However, it was enough to help him cultivate the great Tao heavenly furnace. As time passed, Su Yan's body gradually changed. It was filled with a metallic feeling. This was the great Tao aura nourishing the body. As a result, Su Yan's constitution contained a vague Tao aura. When all the great Tao aura was refined, Su Yan's precious body became terrifying. It was as if he had really turned into a heavenly furnace. When it burned, the vigorous blood and qi seemed to have the tendency to burn the void. Even when he breathed, the surroundings roared and the void trembled. This was a terrifying power. When he opened his eyes, it was as if lightning streaked across the sky. Boom! Su Yan's entire aura shook violently. The great Tao heavenly furnace was activated. His flesh shell was like the furnace body, and his life spring was like the furnace fire. When he raised his hand, there was an aura that could collapse the world. Powerful. This was Su Yan's first feeling. The great Tao heavenly furnace had been cultivated. Su Yan's initial sutra had also crossed a barrier and stepped into the core area. However, it was only the initial stage. If he wanted to let the great Tao heavenly furnace reach the realm of great success, it would be difficult. But now that Su Yan had evolved the great Tao heavenly furnace, his combat power was not to be underestimated. It's over. Su Yan stood up. His eyes scanned the great Tao treasured liquid in the ancient pool. He took out a jar and put it all away. This thing could cleanse the body. Su Yan would not use it to break through to the next level. It might be useful in the future. I wonder what's going on outside. Su Yan pushed open the door of the Tao Palace. The scene before his eyes flashed, and he disappeared from this starry sky. Su Yan was puzzled. Could it be that there was someone controlling the Big Dipper Tower? He could not figure it out. After all, the Big Dipper Tower was a treasure of the Big Dipper lineage. Perhaps there was some unknown purpose. When he arrived outside the Big Dipper Tower, Su Yan was surprised. There were many people in the vicinity. When he came out, these people all looked at him. "You're Su Yan." Loud laughter rang out. Su Yan looked over and saw a young man with red hair walking over. He was waving a red treasured fan. He looked gentle and refined. He walked over and said modestly, "I've long heard of Su Yan's great name. Now that I've met you today, I can see that the rumors are true. You are? Su Yin looked at this young man with red hair and asked, Nobody. It's normal that you don't know me. The red-haired man smiled and said, I've been ordered to come here and wait for you. Su Yin, can you wait here for a moment? What's the matter? Su Yan's eyes scanned the surroundings. He felt that something was wrong. Nothing much. My young master has been admiring Su Yin for a long time. He'll be here soon to meet you. The red-haired man smiled and said, Su Yin, if you don't have anything urgent, why don't you wait here for a while? What do you think? Su Yin left the place. He had an ominous feeling in his heart. Brother Su Yin, why are you leaving so soon? The red-haired man quickly chased after him and said with a smile, Brother, what's the hurry? Just ask my men to do it. I'll be back soon. At this moment, more than 10 young men appeared nearby. They stared at Su Yin as if they were up to no good. Senior brother, suddenly a weak voice was heard. It was like a clap of thunder to Su Yan's ears. He disappeared from where he was and appeared outside the crowd. Su Yan's face changed immediately. He saw Zui Yang lying on the ground, covered in blood and almost unconscious. Who did this? Su Yan's eyes emitted a murderous intent. Vigorous vitality gushed out from his palm and entered Zui Yang's body. It strengthened Zui Yang's weak vitality. Before Zui Yang could open his mouth, the red-haired man and his men surrounded Su Yin and blocked his escape route. One of the women sneered, I didn't expect him to still be able to breathe. What a blunder. I'm surprised too. I wanted to give you a surprise, Su Yin. I didn't expect him to still be alive. Chapter 323. The onlookers were silent. They wanted to know if Su Yin would join the fight. After all, the ancestral hall had sent a group of knights. They were so powerful that even the sky prides paled in comparison. It was said that they had a powerful weapon. Moreover, Kang Yuan was a Star Region Lord. Will he take the initiative to fight or avoid the fight? Senior brother, Zui Yang, was still very weak. Zui Yang's condition only improved a little after Su Yin had absorbed another stream of life essence. When he saw the red-haired man surrounding them, his eyes turned red. Don't worry. Tell me slowly, Su Yin said. He didn't expect that Zui Yang and the others would be attacked while he was in seclusion. Someone from the Ancestral Hall has come. A group of knights have come to deal with you. Zui Yang said, We lost many disciples, but Senior Sister is in seclusion and can't reorganize the battle formation. Now, they have been forced to the Sunset Ridge. The Ancestral Hall, it's them again. Su Yan's eyes were cold. He didn't expect the Ancestral Hall to send knights over so quickly. Su Yin, you stay here obediently. You're not allowed to go anywhere. Wait for my master to come. The red-haired man said coldly. Remember, if you dare to leave the Big Dipper, the disciples of the Big Dipper clan will be in trouble. What right does the Tianxian Star region have to be enemies with the Big Dipper clan? Zui Yang was furious. He had rushed over to report the news, but he was subdued by Kang Yuan's subordinates. He was even beaten up and almost died. Bastard, you piece of trash. How dare you look down on the Tianxian Star region? I'll tear your mouth apart. A woman sneered and raised her hand to slap Zui Yang. She didn't take Su Yin seriously at all. Swoosh! Su Yin suddenly stood up. His entire being was like an unsheathed killing sword that extended outwards. Wisps of ominous glints could split the sky. Su Yan's cold eyes swept over her. His eyes flashed with a lightning-like killing intent that tore through the void. In an instant, this woman was shattered into pieces. It was as if a gust of cold wind had swept over. The surrounding people felt as if they had fallen into an ice cave, and they found it even more unbelievable. Su Yin glared, and glared to death one of Kang Yuan's followers. Su Yin, how dare you? The red-haired man and the others shouted in shock and anger. These were Kang Yuan's subordinates. Their auras erupted, and the various clans even brought out a formation diagram. Every formation diagram was as red as blood, interwoven with complicated patterns. The red-haired man said angrily, Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. My master purposely gave us a set of killing weapons to suppress you in order to prevent you from escaping. Swish, swish. More than a dozen formation diagrams shown. Red clouds surged, and killing intent lingered. When all of them were brought out, more than a dozen formation diagrams shot into the void and merged into one, forming a red divine diagram. After all, this was a great killing weapon brought out by Kong Yuan. It was no small matter. When this set of formation diagrams erupted, a giant vicious beast appeared above the formation diagram. It raised its head and roared, looking like a white tiger. Thousands of layers of red divine light surged out. Swan and Eye formation diagram. Someone's face turned pale. This was an exceptionally precious formation diagram. There was no need to mention the Swan and Eye. It was an archaic, giant, vicious beast with extremely strong battle strength. This formation diagram perfectly evolved the swan knees Dharma idol. For a moment, it was as if a giant, vicious beast had come into being. Its enormous body covered the sky. Su Yin, you stay here obediently. You can't go anywhere. The red-haired man sneered. The Swan and Eye formation diagram was suspended here, awakening to its strongest state. It covered an area of 1 li. Want to seal this place and keep Su Yin here. Kong Yuan. Su Yan's eyes flashed with a trace of cold light. His entire body erupted with an aura that surged up violently. The surrounding people were petrified. Originally, they thought that the Swan and Eye formation diagram could trap Su Yin for a while. Who knew that behind Su Yan's back, countless giant vicious beast phantoms would appear? It was as if over 100 kings of vicious beasts had come into being. Boom! Vicious energy enough to split the sky erupted. Even the sky couldn't cover it. The giant swan knees Dharma idol was distorting, and the formation diagram was trembling. Su Yin stepped on the sky as his entire body soared into the sky. He was like the sun that soared through the sky, and he carried a world-shocking combat strength as he crushed the Swanee. The enormous formation shattered into pieces and exploded into a large expanse of ash. You, the red-haired man, and the others were stupefied. Each and every one of them stood there in a daze. Their faces stiffened, and their bodies emitted cold air. How is this possible? The hairs on their bodies stood on end. Their faces were filled with disbelief. How could this person be so strong? No matter how it was said, this Swan and Eye formation diagram could still trap a Heaven's Chosen for a while. But Su Yin had used his aura alone to crush this precious formation diagram. No, they were terrified. Their bodies trembled because a giant foot stomped down from the void. It descended from the heavens, causing the world to tremble. Layers upon layers of territory began to sink down. We are Kong Yuan's subordinates. They cried out in fear. Each and every one of them fell limp to the ground. This kind of strength was simply impossible to resist. But the sole of the foot had already trampled down. Over 10 of Kong Yuan's subordinates were trampled to death by Su Yan's foot. They were blasted into ashes. How terrifying! The smell of blood filled the air, causing the surrounding onlookers to be terrified. From the moment Su Yan attacked to the end, they hadn't even seen Su Yan's shadow. This meant that he had already left this place. As for Kong Yuan's subordinates, they were laughably unable to even grab onto the corners of his clothes. Good, this is satisfying. Ha ha, this is truly satisfying. The scene that appeared in the Starry Sky Horn caused Star Element to laugh. Truly worthy of being a Heaven's Chosen of our Big Dipper bloodline. When you need to attack, you attack. To think that a tiny, profound sky star region dares to come here and cause trouble. Ha ha. Wait until Su Yin survives this calamity. Then you can laugh. Han Jin coldly said. Perhaps Su Yin has already run away. Star Element's expression was ice cold. He said, that's right. If so many spineless disciples run away, what would we do with such trash? Yao Guang Temple Master and the others were silent. That's right, the Ancestral Hall's cavalry had arrived. They had suffered heavy losses. While Xiao Wen and the others were gathering reinforcements, a large number of disciples had run away, causing them to fall into a trap. Mizar Temple Master sighed inwardly. As he thought back to the years of struggle for power and profit, he felt a bit of self-blame. He didn't think that this sort of atmosphere would develop. He felt that it was necessary to clean up the sect. Otherwise, these disciples would be fence-sitters. Sunset Ridge. Suyan's speed was extraordinarily fast. He used spatial shrink to cross the void. The Sunset Ridge wasn't too far from here. With his speed, he could cross it in less than an incense stick's worth of time. In the direction of the Sunset Ridge, there were many cultivators who wanted to join in the fun. The Sunset Ridge was like a fiery red mountain range. It was vast and majestic. According to rumors, a sun had fallen in the Sunset Ridge a long time ago. It gradually formed a special territory that was quite dangerous. I smell blood. I wonder how the Big Dipper bloodline's losses are. The Ancestral Hall sent a dozen cavalry. There are even 10 cavalry that can form a battle formation. Their combat strength is extremely terrifying. Even the Heavens Chosen would change their expressions when talking about them. The Ancestral Hall's foundation is truly terrifying. It's hard to guess. Many cultivators were watching from the edge of the Sunset Ridge. The entire Sunset Ridge was very large. Because of the danger, there were very few cultivators here. Look, someone is coming out. The onlookers were shocked. They saw that the entrance of the Sunset Ridge was filled with killing intent. It even shattered the fiery red clouds in the sky. It was a powerful Ingia from the Ancestral Hall. He carried a blood-red battle spear, and his eyes were cold. He rode on a purple mount and attacked with a blood-red battle spear. Kiki, why are you running? I've never killed women, especially beauties. Zhu Xing was clad in a jet-black battle armor, and his entire body was emitting a terrifying bloody aura. It was as if a demon god had rushed out and was chasing after a beautiful woman. What a pity! This outstanding female disciple of the Big Dipper bloodline is going to be captured alive. The onlookers sighed. No matter how fast Feng Xiaomu was, it would be difficult for him to escape. Zhu Xing's mount was a purple electric beast. It was as fast as lightning and caught up with Feng Xiaomu in a few breaths. Kiki, a cold voice came, making Feng Xiaomu shiver, especially when the purple electric beast was about to pounce on her. Feng Xiaomu couldn't resist the energy waves emitted by the purple electric beast. She was sent flying and coughed out a mouthful of blood. Don't hurt her. She's my prey. Zhu Xing laughed sinisterly. The purple electric beast stopped in the air and took out a blood-red net. There were many beautiful women trapped in the net. Now, the blood-red net was loosened and moved towards Feng Xiaomu. Despair flashed in Feng Xiaomu's eyes. She also made up her mind. She took out a sharp knife and decided to end it with her life. Little beauty, you don't even have the right to die in front of me. Your everything belongs to me. Zhu Xing said confidently. He looked down at Feng Xiaomu and inspected her beautiful body. The more he looked, the more satisfied he was. He couldn't help but laugh. However, a boundless void aura suddenly surged out, twisting the void in this area. Feng Xiaomu had mysteriously disappeared on the spot. Who dares to stop me? Zhu Xing's face darkened. He shouted angrily, Get out here. Senior brother. Feng Xiaomu's pale face was filled with surprise. She sensed the aura of spatial contraction. Su Yan, is it you trash fish? Get out here. Zhu Xing was furious. His armor clanged. He rode on the purple electric beast and held the blood-red spear. He shouted, Get out here and accept your death. Swoosh. Right at this moment, the boundless void began to distort. There were people who were horrified. Several hundred li away, a terrifying figure was leaping through the void. They saw Feng Xiaomu's injuries, as well as the imprisoned woman within the great blood-color net. This made Su Yan's blood boil. He recalled some of the encounters in the Huaxia Alliance. Bastard! Su Yan roared to the sky. The entire Sunset Ridge trembled slightly. The onlookers felt numb. Su Yan hadn't arrived yet, but his roar was already heard. A true dragon appeared behind him and accompanied his roar. Boom! The entire world was torn apart. The rolling sound waves were like the Milky Way from the ninth heaven. The energy ripples were extremely terrifying. Zhu Xing's eyes were filled with fear. Blood flowed out of his 7 orifices and his entire body was trembling. Poof! Su Yan came across the void like a demon lord. He stretched out his hands and suppressed the universe. He tore Zhu Xing and the purple electric beast in half. Chapter 324. A rain of blood fell to the ground. A glint of light swept out and a cold wind blew. The cultivators who were watching felt their hair stand on end. Their eyes widened in disbelief. This scene was frozen in their minds. It was a terrifying shadow crossing the void. When he stretched out his arms, huge true dragons appeared on his left and right hands, surging with unimaginable power. Zhu Xing's entire body, together with the purple electric beast, was torn apart by Su Yin. Blood spilled and dyed the ground red. Some people were scared out of their wits. They were trembling with fear and shock. They didn't dare to look at the shadow in front of them who was standing in the void with his back to them. He was like a terrifying demon god. The aftershock of his roar shook the sunset ridge. The afterglow of the setting sun shone, setting off his majestic figure. "This is unbelievable," someone swallowed and said in a trembling voice. "The Big Dipper heavenly talent is stronger than before. What kind of realm has he cultivated to? How can he have such overwhelming combat power? After all, that's Jie from the Ancestral Hall, but he was torn apart by Su Yin in one move. I feel that Su Yan's cultivation level is very high. His mastery of his Dharma power has already reached perfection. He can easily unleash his peak combat power." An old cultivator commented, his eyes full of admiration and reverence. All in all, the cultivators who were watching the battle couldn't believe this scene. It was too fierce. Zhu Xing was torn apart alive, and his blood flowed all over the ground. Whoosh! Whoosh! Zhu Xing's primordial spirit was still alive. He flew out and tried to escape through the void. However, no matter how Zhu Xing tried to flee, he couldn't get more than 30 meters away. The void was being suppressed by an unimaginable battle constitution. Zhu Xing's nascent divinity was trembling, and his eyes were filled with fear. He couldn't imagine what kind of Jie he had provoked. He was like the Big Dipper heavenly talent. "No," Zhu Xing said in fear. Su Yan's palm had already pressed down. He lost control and said, "I'm from the Ancestral Hall." Ordinary people would have turned around and run as far as they could when they heard the name of the Ancestral Hall. But Su Yan's slap destroyed Zhu Xing's body and soul, turning him into ashes. Su Yin raised his hand again and slashed with a palm knife, splitting the blood-red net. A group of beautiful women were reborn. There were tears in their eyes. Some of them weren't cultivators here, but had been captured by Zhu Xing from other planets. Now, they were staring at Su Yin with grateful eyes. It was hard to imagine that the demon-like Zhu Xing had been torn apart by Su Yin like a wild beast. Su Yin, there were also some female disciples of the Big Dipper faction who were under Han Tong. Their emotions were greatly moved, and they almost cried. They did not expect that Su Yin would descend from the sky at the crucial moment and tear Zhu Xing apart. Su Yan's pupils constricted as he discovered a furry little mink running out. It had a pair of big, ruby-like eyes. After running for a while, it turned around to look at Su Yin before running away without a trace. Su Yin didn't care. He started across the sunset ridge. "Who's that?" Some extraterrestrial beauties came back to their senses and chased after Zuyang. She said gratefully, "Which planet is he from?" Hearing this, Zuyang said proudly, "He's the Big Dipper Heavenly Talent's senior brother, Su Yin." "What? He's the Big Dipper Heavenly Talent's senior brother?" Some of the girls were shocked. They knew that the Big Dipper Heavenly Talent wasn't that strong. How did he come out? What a terrifying talent. Seeing the shocked expressions of the girls, Zuyang was proud. He straightened his back and couldn't help but sigh. It was important for a planet to have an invincible talent. It was a good show to watch. Let's rush over and see the fate of the Ancestral Hall's knights. The onlookers reacted. They were very excited. They wanted to see the fate of the Ancestral Hall's knights. The Sunset Ridge was a fiery red mountain range. It was majestic and majestic. This was a forbidden area. The temperature was so hot that it dried up one's chi and blood. It was rarely visited. But now, the Sunset Ridge was filled with the smell of blood. Battle cries could be heard everywhere. The sunset ridge, which was littered with corpses, emitted a sound that was like the pulse of the earth. It was also like a large yellow bell being rung. The vast divine power caused the earth to involuntarily rumble. Who? The knights with powerful auras were shocked. They were hunting the Big Dipper Heavenly Talents disciples. Shao Wan and the others were holding on with the help of the terrain, waiting for reinforcements to arrive. But now the ground was shaking. They looked off into the distance and saw a figure rising up from the horizon. He strode forward, and every step he took caused the surrounding territory to tremble. Sand and gravel were thrown into the air. Who is it? There were 3 powerful auras. They were riding purple lightning beasts. They came and went like lightning. Their cold eyes stared at Su Yin, who had suddenly appeared. It's senior brother Su Yin. Shaolin was covered in blood. He laughed loudly. Brothers, senior brother Su Yin is here. Senior brother Su Yin. Some of the disciples who were lying in a pool of blood were excited. They stretched out their hands and wanted to climb up. Some of the disciples from the 7 great halls, including Mizar Hall, felt inexplicable emotions. They wanted to cry. They never expected that at this critical moment, the person who came to kill them would be Su Yin, the person they had wanted to kill. The disciples who were still alive were greatly moved. They stared at the 3 knights who were hunting them with ferocious eyes. They were high and mighty and disdained to hunt them down, saying that they were too weak. But now Su Yin had come. This made their emotions surge. They hoped that Su Yin would use the same method to return the favor. So you are Su Yin, a black-clothed man holding a jet-black war spear rode on top of a purple lightning beast. His cold eyes scanned Su Yin as he said in a ferocious voice, "How dare you kill Zhu Xing? Do you know whose son Zhu Xing is?" Boom! Just as his voice fell, the entire sunset ridge seemed to tremble. Su Yin's black hair danced in the wind, surging with thousands of murderous auras. It carried with it the sound of thousands of soldiers and horses galloping, filling the skies. The world lost its color, becoming dark without light. As if they had returned to the wild era, the entire sunset ridge exuded an ominous aura. Countless Dharma idol shadows flashed between the heavens and earth. This was a terrifying celestial phenomenon. The entire sunset ridge lost its luster. A terrifying phenomenon was brewing, violent to the extreme. Only one person was blazing with terror. He was like a golden god of war that rose from the darkness, causing the world to tremble. The sun and moon lost their color, and the entire sunset ridge roared with him. Senior brother Su Yin. Hundreds of disciples supported each other as they stood in the pool of blood. They shouted excitedly, "Invincible! Invincible!" Their emotions were out of control, and their spiritual wills were churning. It was as if a terrifying shadow was standing in their hearts, like an immortal monument, causing them to have the will to revere. So terrifying. Is he the young paragon of the Big Dipper bloodline? The eyes of some of the beauties who were rescued from the blood-red net shone with extraordinary splendor. They were also aghast because this person was too strong. The entire sunset ridge seemed to be shaking, unable to withstand the momentum of his rise. What a Su Yin! I've underestimated him. He's definitely a young Overlord. The scene displayed by the cosmic horn silenced some universe masters. They could vaguely see a star rising into the sky, illuminating the heavens and earth. Perhaps he would become a paragon of the Big Dipper bloodline in the future, contending for supremacy in the universe. He can't continue to grow. There's only one young paragon in the Big Dipper starfield, and that's our race's champion. The Schweff family exuded killing intent, their eyes cold. They felt that the future of the Big Dipper starfield was Schwegwan's, and they wouldn't allow a second young paragon to appear. Kill! The 3 horsemen were a little fearful, but they were veterans who had experienced hundreds of battles. They charged forward in unison, riding on the purple lightning beasts. They took out their killing weapons and charged at Su Yin. However, when they rushed here and got close to Su Yin, the fear in their hearts increased. This domain that belonged to Su Yin was filled with boundless killing intent. It was like a vast ocean, shaking the clouds and penetrating the heavens. No matter how strong their auras were, they couldn't break through this magnificent domain. Su Yin went to the land of inheritance. Star Element saw the clues and was shocked. Could it be that he had passed the strongest test? Had he been recognized by the Big Dipper Tower? I don't believe you're that strong. One of the horsemen was angry. He waved the black spear in his hand and slashed towards Su Yin. Su Yan's eyes widened, his killing intent surging. His aura was even more terrifying. When the great Tao heavenly furnace was released, it was like a sun that had been condensed millions of times. His aura filled the entire sunset ridge. Suddenly, someone saw a great sun in the sky, looking down on everything. Boom! Su Yin waved his fist, his battle prowess unparalleled. Behind him, a dragon roared. This punch seemed to fill the entire sunset ridge, full of supreme might. He's cultivated the battle prowess of a paragon. The three horsemen trembled, unable to withstand this punch. They coughed up large mouthfuls of blood, and the purple lightning beast they rode collapsed into a bloody mist. One of the horsemen threw out a talisman, which flew into the sky like a meteor. The moment it exploded, it shone with boundless radiance and covered the sun. Between heaven and earth, a huge ancestral word was imprinted. The word seemed to be made of fresh blood. It overflowed with radiance, illuminating tens of thousands of miles. It exuded the power of an overlord, sweeping across the entire region. That's the Ancestral Hall's killing order. Far away, someone saw the word imprinted in the sky and turned pale with fright. Who forced the Ancestral Hall's core disciples to take out the killing order? Could a young overlord have offended the Ancestral Hall? The Outer Realm prodigies knew very well that once the Ancestral Hall's killing order was issued, it would summon the nearby Ancestral Hall forces to hunt down the target. Roar! The next moment, everyone who was watching from afar was stunned. The moment this huge word appeared, a true dragon soared from majestic sunset ridge. It soared in the clouds, its huge body shattering this huge word with a roar. Boom! Chapter 325. A giant ancestral character appeared in the sky. It was scarlet and illuminated tens of thousands of miles. This was the Ancestral Hall's kill order. It was gathering helpers to kill Su Yin. But when the true dragon soared into the sky and shattered the Ancestral Hall's kill order, it shocked the crowd. Who was this person that dared to humiliate the Ancestral Hall and shatter the kill order? Wasn't he afraid of dying a tragic death? It seems something big has happened. Let's go to the setting sun ridge and take a look. It can't be Su Yin, right? They all rushed towards their destination. They could see from afar that the red mountain ridge at the end of the horizon was violently shaking as if a great earthquake was occurring. It emitted loud rumbling, sounds like landslides and tsunamis. Heavens, what is happening at the setting sun ridge? Many people cried out in alarm because the entire sunset ridge was undulating, as if it was being pushed by a terrifying force. Moreover, in the huge mountain ridge, rays of blazing essence bloodlight soared up one after another, like smoke signals piercing through the clouds. A turbulent force erupted, causing the entire setting sun ridge to rumble. Impossible! The three Ancestral Hall horsemen had ugly expressions. The purple lightning beasts they rode prostrated themselves in front of Su Yin in fear, shivering. They even knelt down and submitted to Su Yin. This caused them to fly into a rage out of humiliation. These were mounts that they had tamed, but now they were submitting to the enemy. The onlookers were also flabbergasted. What kind of powerful force was this? At this moment, Su Yin was like a rising true dragon. The killing intent he released soared into the heavens, tearing apart the heavens. Kill! Su Yin let out a long roar. He punched out with his fist, causing the entire setting sun ridge to tremble. A large black hole appeared in the core area as a boundless fist light swooped down. It was as if a heavenly drum was being beaten with a deafening momentum. Quick attack! The three horsemen were very decisive. They took out their secret treasures one after another. They felt that this fist was unstoppable. Once they were struck, they would undoubtedly die. These three secret treasures were not ordinary objects. There was an ancient bell, a cauldron, and a thunder drum. Dong, dong, dong. The ancient bell vibrated with sound waves, the treasured cauldron came crashing over, and the thunder drum spewed out lightning. The three secret treasures formed a triangle in front of them to resist Su Yan's power. Su Yan's iron-blooded fist was domineering. The power that surged out was intimidating. Everyone's thighs trembled, their legs went soft, and there was a tendency for them to submit to him. Su Yan's punch was unstoppable. It caused the three secret treasures to tremble and shatter. The fist glow that whistled out was like a mountain torrent gushing out. It bombarded the void until it was torn into pieces and swept toward the three knights. Pooh! The three riders felt as if they had been struck by lightning. The purple electric beast they were riding shattered, and the three of them were also sent flying. It was very difficult for them to withstand Su Yan's power. A trace of fear flashed through the eyes of the three great horsemen. Someone said with a trembling voice, "This is a young overlord who has been nurtured to the level of a supreme being. How did the Big Dipper lineage nurture such a powerful hero?" They fled in panic, wanting to gather their men and reorganize their battle formation to trap and kill Su Yan. "Stay!" When an angry roar resounded through the sunset ridge once again, the three horsemen were in complete despair. The vast void was shattered by the roar. Su Yan stood in the distance and waved his fist. A giant dragon with an oppressive might struck out. It pierced through half of the sunset ridge, and the dragon's roar shook the sky. Endless divine radiance sprinkled down, shattering the clouds. It was a shocking scene. The dragon's roar reverberated through the sunset ridge, accompanied by a world-shaking, ferocious might. The cultivators who rushed over from all directions were frightened. This was man-made. Who was so strong? Who could unleash such a terrifying attack? No! The three horsemen cried out in fear. They couldn't stop Su Yan at all. The giant dragon struck them and destroyed their bodies and souls, turning them into three piles of ashes. Su Yan is too strong. He killed the three horsemen. They were the elites of the ancestral hall and were young cultivators at the peak of the transcendence realm. The spectators were horrified. The scene that appeared in the cosmic edge left the various lords speechless. This is a rise. Su Yan's vitality is as exuberant as a true dragon's. His combat strength is extraordinary. He has already cultivated to the acme of perfection in the transcendence realm. When Su Yan fought with Shui Guan previously, Su Yan's cultivation was clearly insufficient and needed a secret treasure to replenish his combat strength. But now it's completely different. It's as if he has been reborn. I feel that he has obtained an inheritance in the Big Dipper Tower. The ancestral hall sent over a dozen horsemen. I'm afraid they won't be enough to kill him. There was a lot of discussion. The experts of the older generation found it hard to remain calm. Now, they had personally witnessed the rise of a young overlord. The vigorous blood essence that filled the sky didn't dissipate for a long time. It made the sunset ridge ripple with ominous light. The sunset ridge regained its tranquility, but Su Yan's eyes were still filled with a shocking, killing intent. Where are the other horsemen? Su Yan's question made some of the 7 major halls tremble in fear. They could feel the terrifying killing intent. It seemed like Su Yan's anger hadn't subsided. He still wanted to make a move and eliminate all the horsemen from the ancestral hall. "Senior brother, we shouldn't have been able to last until now. But someone made a move and helped us. They even lured the 10 horsemen away." Xiao Wen hurriedly said, "The 10 horsemen are very powerful. They can form a battle formation. This brother might be in danger." Soon a disciple pointed to the end of the sunset ridge and said, "Senior brother, there seems to be an underground ancient cave." The 10 horsemen went into the underground ancient cave and haven't come out yet. I wonder how our friend is doing now. Hearing this, Su Yan's eyes lit up. He looked at the fiery red ancient cave entrance. The ancient cave entrance didn't look big, but when Su Yan looked at the terrain, he saw that the ancient cave entrance was like a giant divine fire cave. There was an invisible terrain surging around it. It was like a giant sun was floating in the ancient cave. The sunset ridge. There's a sun sunk inside. Su Yin discovered that this layout was no small matter. He looked up and surveyed the sky. He faintly discovered that the sun hanging in the outer realm had an undetectable true sun fire that was being swallowed by the fire cave. A land of fortune. Su Yan's eyes narrowed. He had already rushed towards the fire cave entrance. But when he approached, the blazing heat from the fire cave entrance made the following disciples feel as if they had fallen into a furnace. They said in horror, "The temperature is too high. Could it be that a volcano has formed here?" Su Yan's heart suddenly surged with joy. He took out a jade pendant and discovered that it was glowing. This made him pleasantly surprised. This meant that the item that Zi Xiaoning wanted him to search for was in the underground ancient cave. It was difficult to verify how long the Sunset Ridge had existed. In the past, there were great figures who had searched it, but they didn't find any treasures. What happened at the Sunset Ridge? Could a treasure have been unearthed? The outer regions of the Big Dipper were not quiet. News spread out one after another, causing everyone to be terrified. In particular, the killing order issued by the Ancestral Hall had shocked Ingjia from the outer realm. Su Yin killed his way to the Sunset Ridge and killed the Ancestral Hall's horsemen. The Ancestral Hall has issued a killing order. Su Yin is on the Ancestral Hall's must-kill list. I don't know how he can escape this calamity. Rumor has it that once the Ancestral Hall issues a killing order, anyone who can take his head will be able to head to the Ancestral Hall to claim the reward. This news caused the crowd to be moved. After all, the Ancestral Hall was no small matter. It was the Overlord power in the universe. Provoking the Ancestral Hall was equivalent to poking a giant hornet's nest. However, the Ancestral Hall's actions also caused some people to be dissatisfied. This was the Big Dipper, after all. The Ancestral Hall's horsemen issued a killing order in such a brazen manner. They clearly didn't place the Big Dipper clan in their eyes. Big news. Kong Yuan is here. He also saw the Ancestral Hall issue a killing order and is rushing towards the Sunset Ridge. Oh heavens! More than a dozen horsemen from the Ancestral Hall have gathered at the Sunset Ridge. Now, even Kong Yuan is here. Is Su Yan's end here? The Big Dipper was surging with undercurrents. This was a sign of an impending storm. Kong Yuan's prestige was shocking enough. In the nearby star fields, he was one of the overlords of the younger generation. Needless to say, the Ancestral Hall sent more than a dozen horsemen. They were definitely not ordinary people. Rumor had it that they could form a battle formation and kill powerful enemies. Countless cultivators rushed towards the Sunset Ridge. They wanted to watch the battle. They felt that this was going to be a great showdown. Su Yan's head is mine. The silver passageway trembled as a scarlet figure rushed out. His body was like a burning red star. The airflow emitted from his body rushed in all directions. The passers-by near the silver passageway couldn't bear it and were all sent flying. Too overbearing. Who was this? Some people were furious. Their whole body was in pain, and they almost fainted. They had suffered internal injuries. These people were covered in dirt and were about to curse when they saw Kong Yuan step out of the silver passageway. He looked down at the world like an emperor going to war. He was powerful and conceited. He let out a cruel and cold, murderous voice. Who dares to fight with me? Su Yan's life is already in my hands. Then his cold eyes swept over the nearby cultivators. He said indifferently, "Quickly lead the way. I'm going to the Sunset Ridge to take Su Yan's head." These people's faces turned ugly. Did he think they were slaves? Assigned at will. Someone cursed in his heart. The people of the Tianxian Starfield are too much. I really hope Su Yan kills him and cuts him into 8 pieces. However, they didn't dare to say anything. After all, Kong Yuan was recognized by the Great Tao imprint of the Tianxian Starfield. Needless to say, his battle prowess was very likely to become a leading expert of the Tianxian Starfield in the future. Look at how awesome you are. A disdainful voice was heard. The Tai Baokai walked out of the silver passageway slowly, swaying its big furry butt. It had a round head and big ears. It looked simple and honest. It bared its teeth and said, "Little Kong Yuan, you're bragging so loudly. Didn't you arrogantly want to catch me? Why are you running now?" The surrounding people's expressions were interesting. They wanted to laugh, but couldn't think of anything. They all recognized this creature. During this period of time, it had caused chaos in the core area. It led the disciples of the Big Dipper clan to occupy many resource areas and excavate heavenly treasures. "You're courting death." Kong Yuan's expression was unsightly. He let out a deep roar. The red divine mist around his treasured body was like a giant wave. It rolled over furiously and covered the area where the Tai Baokai was. However, the Tai Baokai suddenly disappeared. It crossed the void and appeared on top of a mountain. It raised its big round head and looked at the ashen-faced Kong Yuan with disdain. "You worm, do you only know how to hide?" Kong Yuan's expression was unsightly. The Shui family had informed him of the Tai Baotsai's whereabouts. However, what made Kong Yuan very angry was that the Tai Baotsai's speed was too astonishing. It was very difficult for him to trap the Tai Baokai. Many of his subordinates had even been killed by the Tai Baokai. "Call me father, and I'll come over." The Tai Baokai had a fierce expression. A golden bamboo was hanging above its head, sprinkling down brilliant golden light. It made the Tai Baokai look like a golden panda. Boom! The sky was filled with red divine radiance. It surged like a tide and was extremely terrifying. One had to admit that Kong Yuan was powerful. The mountain where the Tai Baokai was standing on was blasted apart. The sky was filled with flying rocks. He really did have the battle strength of a young overlord. However, the Tai Baokai had evolved the immortal phoenix wings and used the earth shrinking technique to escape. It left behind a disdainful voice. "You unfilial son, you dare target your father. You'll be struck by lightning." The surrounding people looked as if they had seen a ghost. This panda was too despicable. Everyone could feel the fury within Kong Yuan's body surging like a volcano. It couldn't be restrained and gushed out. It was as if it wanted to burn the heavens. "Lead the way immediately."